Well, I'm neutral and I'm nervous. So heaven only knows what it's like for the Manchester City and Queen's Park Rangers fans gathered here at the Etihad Stadium for the climax to the Barclays Premier League season. These are the two starting lineups that they'll be watching. First of all, Manchester City, the goalkeeper Hart, a defence of Zabaleta, Company, Lescott and Clichy, then Barry and Yaya Toure, then Nasri, Tevez and Silva, and finally Aguero. Queen's Park Rangers goalkeeper is Kenny. The defence, Onua, Ferdinand Hill and Taiwo. Then we've got Derry and Barton in the centre of the midfield, Mackie to the right, Wright Phillips to the left, and finally Cisse and Zamora. It's quite attack-minded from Mark Hughes, considering that he's been playing 4-5-1 of late. On the opening day of the season, certainly the opening weekend of the season, I wrote and I said that I thought Manchester City would win the title this year. A few weeks ago I wasn't too sure, certainly not when Manchester United had an 8-point lead at the top of the table. But Sir Alex talks about Devon Lock and he hopes that Manchester City do a Devon Lock. The truth is that the champions themselves have done a Devon Lock. 4 points in 4 critical games allowed Manchester City to get back into it. Danny Mills, can you see them tripping up now?
I really don't think they will, but you never know. I think it's a really difficult one to call. I think it depends how Queen's Park Rangers start today. We talked about it just before. Joey Barton, Sean Wright-Phillips, Nader Manua, and of course the manager, will certainly want to spoil Manchester City's party. And again, it depends what happens elsewhere, because as we know, on this final day of the season, results filter into the crowd. If Manchester United manage to go 1-0 up early on, that will filter into the crowd here. We'll get a bit nervous. That will then maybe, transcend onto the pitch and the players, and of course the Bolton result as well. Maybe at half-time, depending on which way is that going, QPR might have to try a little bit harder. So I think there will definitely be, there'll be turns, there'll be gasps, and all sorts will go on. Hopefully, it'll be very, very exciting, and it'll go right down to the wire.
Well, Blue Moon was ahead before Manchester City last won the league title. 44 years and 2 days ago precisely. 1968. They won at Newcastle. Then they were worried about Manchester United playing Sunderland. Like today, United lost that game. All City need to do is match Manchester United's result at the Stadium of Light. The referee, Mike Dean, blows his whistle. We're underway. Some people, already think it's all over. I promise you it will be soon. 90 minutes of football ahead will decide not just the destination of the championship, but who goes down with Blackburn and with Wolves. Queen's Park Rangers are defending the end to our right. They're in their away strip. United will be pleased that they've got red in it. It's red and white quartered shirts, red shorts and red socks. Manchester City all in sky blue. And here is David Silva. Silva back to Yaya Toure, who's been immense in the run-in. On by Zabaleta to Silva, just to the right of the penalty area. Silva twists and turns, he's now inside the box. Lays it back. Tevez takes it up. Tevez now looking to glide it carefully to Barry. Barry onto Aguero. Barry might have thought of shooting from that range, didn't, and it's cleared. And already we've got a goal at Tottenham. David Oates.
96 seconds, Alan, and Tottenham have the lead. Lovely 1-2 on the edge of the box. Adebayo started it and he finished it emphatically. Tottenham lead Fulham by 1-0.
Now, if Arsenal don't win at West Brom and Tottenham win, Tottenham will finish third. It's not just the title and the relegation berth that's at stake today. It's of course the Champions League places, Danny. It's really wonderful that so many games matter on the final day.
Oh, definitely. It's close all over the place. And of course, it's not just fourth that people are trying to get, it's third. Because of course, with Chelsea in the Champions League final, fourth doesn't necessarily, guarantee you Champions League place. So that third spot is absolutely vital. Game so far, City just taking a little bit of control, passing the ball around. They will be hoping for an early goal. They just want to get that early goal, settle their nerves. But QPR, they do have pace. They do have one or two special players that could cause City a problem if they don't concentrate.
City have a throw in on the halfway line, on the far side of the field. They're left. Thrown by Clichy, back to Lescott. Lescott on to Company. What a phenomenal season Vincent Company's had. On to Zavaleta, the Argentine, at right back. And back to Yaya Toure. Barry available, but so too is Silva. Silva takes it up inside the centre circle. Flicks it away to the far side. Goal at West Brom, Pat Murphy.
It's gone to Arsenal, dreadful error by Fulham in the West Brom goal. Completely overran the ball, and there was Gervinho to say thank you very much. What a gift goal from Fulham in his first game in the league for West Brom this season. West Brom 0, Arsenal 1.
Spurs, remember, already ahead against Fulham at the moment. Arsenal will finish third. Here's Aguero on to Tevez inside the penalty area, but Tevez is squeezed out by a couple of defenders. The ball squirts behind for the first corner of the game to Manchester City.
Wow, very intricate on the edge of the box. In the end, I think it was Ferdinand getting in really Tevez's way. It was so tight. He was trying to squeeze through 2 or 3 players, and really there just wasn't room. But again, City looked very, very purposeful in the first few minutes.
Silva to take the corner. Company, Lescott and Yaya Toure all around the penalty spot of the Queen's Park Rangers penalty area. Quite an aerial threat. Here comes Silva, left-footed, in-swinging corner. Didn't beat the first defender. That was Zamora. Zamora's header puts the ball out of the penalty area, and it's flicked on by Djibril Cissé. But there's Clichy on the halfway line to keep it in Manchester City's possession. Nearly 4 minutes played here at the Etihad. Manchester City 0. Queen's Park Rangers still 0-0 on Weir side between Sunderland and Manchester United. They're the 2 games that will decide the destiny of the Barclays Premier League title. Referee Mike Dean has seen a push by a City player and has awarded a free kick to Queen's Park Rangers. You surprised, Danny, that it's an adventurous selection by Mark Hughes?
Well, I think he's coming, and you know what's going to happen. Manchester City are definitely going to have the Lions' share of possession. They are going to attack you. And I think he's probably thought about it and thought, well, actually, we may be able to get something on the break. Of course, you've got the pace of Sean Wright-Phillips, the aerial threat of Zamora. Cissé's got pace as well. And, of course, he knows that if you come here, and try and soak it up the whole game, then the chances are you're going to lose. So, and, of course, depending on the Bolton result, QPR are going to have to get something from the game. It's slightly more adventurous, but I can understand Mark Hughes' thinking.
City with the best home record in the division. Queen's Park Rangers with the worst away record. It seems set for a home win, but stranger things have happened. Here's Barry for Manchester City, halfway inside the QPR half, finds Tevez. Tevez looking for Aguero, plays it behind his fellow Argentine, who does brilliantly to keep it in play. Aguero also beats a defender, lays it back. Here's Tevez, hits the shot. Yaya Toure lashes it over the crossbar.
Absolutely fantastic from Aguero in the corner, just to rob the ball. And then again, City, just snatching a couple of shots. First of all, Tevez, and then Yaya Toure. I think both players, again, City have got to be careful. They haven't got to win this in the first 10 minutes or even the first half. They've just got to keep playing their football, not get nervous about the situation. They will create chances. They've just got to make sure they stay composed and take those chances when they come.
Amidst the bedlam here at the Etihad Stadium, I just heard the instruction from the producer. Let's get an update from John Murray.
Still 0-0 Sunderland and Manchester United. The game's still just settling down in very blustery conditions. Alan McLean with a shot that was comfortably saved by De Gea. That's the only thing a keeper has had to do until now, when Vaughan hit a shot that De Gea also comfortably dealt with. 0-0.
Thank you very much, John. 0-0 here too at Manchester City. Those 2 scenarios at the end of play would mean that Manchester City are champions. Here's Yaya Toure, just to the left of the centre circle, on the halfway line. Forward to Aguero. And back now to Nasri. Barry takes it up. Barry passes it to the right to the full-back Zabaleta. On to Silva. Silva, midway inside QPR territory. Back to Yaya Toure. Yaya Toure, that's a good ball to the left side in Clichy. Plenty of room for the full-back. Crosses early into the penalty area. Too high for Aguero, but it's headed behind by Hill for a corner.
And then QPR just struggling to get a hold in the game at the moment. Can't even get out of their half. Can't string more than 2 passes together. City have to score while they're on top. When you've got possession, you've got to make it count.
Rangers are asleep for the corner. It's played in, having been tapped short to Silva, and then headed away by Queen's Park Rangers. QPR must concentrate. The ball's inside their penalty area, played back to the goalkeeper Kenny, and Kenny with a quick clearance upfield. Zamora, good header down to the ex-Manchester City player Sean Wright-Phillips. Wright-Phillips moving forward, then loses possession as he was tackled by Barry. It's with Aguero. Seemed to be a little foul there by Taiwo, the left back rather, and it's spotted by Mike Dean. It's going to be I thought it was a free kick. I thought he'd awarded a free kick, but it's only a throw-in.
I think it's just QPR at the moment. Look, a touch nervous. I think obviously the occasion is certainly getting to them at the moment. You know, there's a lot at stake for them, of course, depending on the Bolton result. And at the moment, they're just struggling to get into the game. They can't get the ball, they can't get any passes and build any sort of confidence.
Here's Barry. Remember, QPR just got to match Bolton's result. If Bolton can't win at Stoke and QPR manage miraculously to get a draw here, QPR will stay up. And of course a Bolton defeat means it doesn't really matter what happens to Queen's Park Rangers here at Manchester City. Do you feel the tension around the City fans as well, Danny?
I don't think it's too bad at the moment. I think there's an air of almost expectancy, especially the way QPR are set up deep in their own half. I think as we get on, if it stays like this until half time, if City haven't scored by half time, then certainly that will start to come across, and I think the fans will start to get a little bit nervous. The manager will get nervous, and that may just drop onto the players on the pitch.
Aguero loses the ball to Hill, and then Zamora passes it back into his penalty area to the goalkeeper Kenny. Kenny belts it upfield. There's a goal at Norwich, Mike Sewell.
A goal for Grant Holt, his 15th Premier League goal of the season, steering in a free kick from Bradley Johnson with his shoulder. It's Norwich 1, Villa 0.
Here's Nasri on the far side from Manchester City, cutting infield, running towards the penalty, looking for a 1-2 with Tevez. Aguero couldn't get the ball back, and it's taken away by Barton. Barton is then tackled, loses it to Yaya Toure, and then there's a foul, and it's a free kick to Manchester City.
Yeah, again, QPR just cannot retain possession at the moment. City all over them, playing very, very calmly. Manchester City just doing what they normally do, passing the ball around, getting it wide, trying to work it into areas where they can get an attack going.
Here's Tevez, can't get the ball back though to Silva, and it's Zamora, very deep at the moment. Bobby Zamora. Cisse is furthest forward for Queen's Park Rangers. Good work by Zamora, finding Barton. Barton is booed by the fans who used to cheer him. And now on the far side of the field, another ex-City player, Anua, with Mackie. Anua again, and then they lose their way. Mackie couldn't keep the ball, and it's with Clichy from Manchester City over the halfway line into Aguero, immediately challenged by Ferdinand, and the ball deflects away off a defender, and it's out of play on the far side of the field. There's been a goal at Wigan. Stuart Hall.
Spotting your parade, I'm afraid, Rennie. Wolves are taking the lead. Wigan played all the football. Suddenly Matt Jarvis cut in from the left for Wolves, let fly, and beat Al Habsi across his body. Astonishing. Wigan 0, Wolves 1.
Thank you, Stuart. Stuart's at one of the games that, frankly, in bold terms, actually, it doesn't really matter. But here's a game that matters. Another goal at West Brom. Pat Murphy.
Equaliser to West Brom, scored by Shane Long. Lucky ricochet, but a great finish, calm finish, advancing on the keeper from 25 yards. Wenger furious. West Brom 1, Arsenal 1.
City on the attack here. That's Manchester City. Manchester City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0 here at the Etihad Stadium. You're listening to 5 Live on the BBC. The closing day of the Barclays Premier League season. Yaya Toure into Nasri. Nasri 25 yards out, shoots wastefully wide.
Yeah, City don't need that. A little bit ambitious, maybe a touch of frustration. QPR, again, almost Chelsea in the Nou Camp sat very, very deep in their own half, not showing any adventure whatsoever. I think it's Mark Bowen just out there trying to urge his team to get forward a little bit, the QPR players. But City have just got to remain patient. Only 10 minutes gone so far. They are controlling the game, but haven't really created a proper chances yet.
Here's Clichy right on the edge of his own penalty area, but he's not under a great deal of pressure from Djibril Cisse. Gets it back to Hart. Can't see Hart seeing much action today, the Manchester City goalkeeper. Here's Zabaleta to Silva, who's been heavily involved in these opening 11.5 minutes. Back to Yaya Toure, and I think there's been a goal that certainly excited the Queen's Park Rangers fans. It must be at Stoke. Darren Fletcher.
And it's a goal to Stoke, Alan, and it's been coming. Bolton are nervous, Stoke are purposeful, and Jonathan Walters has just bundled the ball in with 13 minutes gone. Bogdan got there, couldn't do enough, and Walters was able to bundle the ball over the line from close range. It came just after Etherington, Crouch and Fuller had all gone close with chances. Bolton have to win. At the moment, Alan, QPR is safe, and Bolton would be down. Stoke 1, Bolton 0.
Well, the Queen's Park Rangers fans here at the Etihad Stadium were celebrating as if their team's leading here.
Well, and that could be the problem. If Stoke score another couple of goals, say, before half-time, and the QPR players get wind of that, you know, they may not try as hard in the second half.
Tevez, back to Barry. Look how deep Queen's Park Rangers are setting. Every single man behind the ball. Zabaleta down the right side from Manchester City. Back to Yaya Toure. Into Barry. Still no score at Sunderland. Sunderland, Manchester United. Zabaleta crosses, hits a defender, rebounds to Yaya Toure, but he can't find Nasri down the right side, and it's out for a throw-in. Another goal at Wigan, Stuart Hall.
2 goals at Wigan in 2 minutes. Cassandra got the first, and Boyce has just headed number 2. So the score, Wigan 2, Wolves 1, readers.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Manchester City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0 here at the Etihad. This is the game that matters truly. Like the one at Sunderland, it's still 0-0 on Wearside. Still 0-0 here at the Etihad Stadium. Anua on the far side. On to Mackie. And Mackie down the right flank for Queen's Park Rangers. Cliché is across there, trying to impede his progress, and he impedes it well. He puts it out for a throw-in. Level with the edge of the City penalty area. Another goal at West Brom, Pat Murphy.
Another goal to West Brom. It's 2-1 now. Graham Dorran's a great finish. That pushes Arsenal down in Champions League territory. Tottenham now at the moment in 3rd position. It's West Brom 2, Arsenal 1.
We'll get a reaction from White Hart Lane in a moment. In fact, let's get it now. David Oates.
He's got a fan club, I can assure you, at White Hart Lane, because with Tottenham leading here against Fulham by Adebayor's 96-minute goal, it is party time here at White Hart Lane. May yet be premature, of course. After the West Brom equaliser, the Tottenham fans were as noisy as I have ever heard them inside this stadium, and now that Arsenal are trailing, I'm sure they'll be even noisier still. Tottenham doing their job too. 1-0 they lead, Alan.
At the moment, Tottenham will move on to 69 points. Arsenal will have 67, Newcastle 66. They're playing at Everton, and it's still 0-0 at Goodison Park, as it is here at the Etihad Stadium. Nearly a quarter of an hour play. Yaya Toure from Manchester City on the halfway line, at least he was. He moves forward into the Rangers half, finds Barry. Barry on to Tevez. Tevez back to Barry. Nasri's down the right at the moment. Silva's down the left. Silva takes it up just towards the edge of the penalty. Great cross into the box. Mistake initially by Kenny, but he grabbed the ball at the second attempt before Nasri could do any damage.
Well, again, all the players, you know, there must have been 7 or 8 defenders. The cross came in looking for, you know, there's only a couple of Man City players in there. Kenny, well, almost spilled it, but then regained it. You know, and it's little bits of luck like that that might just go against City.
Queen's Park Rangers look as if they've come for a point, actually. I know they seem to have lined up 4-4-2, but everybody's back defending as Manchester City attack again. Tevez back to Clichy in the far side of the field. Barry on to Tevez once more, to the left of the penalty, into Silva. Silva drags the shot goalwards towards the near post, where it's saved by Kenny.
Yeah, fortunately straight at Kenny at his near post. You know, I think Silva really had to try and pull that back across for a couple of Man City players, Aguero and Tevez coming in at the far post. But again, you know, if QPR are going to continue to play like this, sooner or later City surely would have to score. They can't play 90 minutes camped in their own half.
Cissé's gone down. Not sure that he's injured, but he's taken a while to get back on his feet. But there's been a goal at Goodison, Nigel Adderley.
And it's not what Newcastle were looking for. Everton lead by 1-0. A deflected curling shot from Stephen Pienaar, and just as Newcastle were getting news of Arsenal falling behind, they've fallen behind themselves. Everton 1, Newcastle 0.
Queen's Park Rangers on the attack here. Cissé edge of the City penalty area, but he didn't get the pass through where he wanted. Flag is already up. Cissé shoots again. I don't know what the referee's hesitating about. Surely he spotted the assistance flag. He has, and finally awards a free kick to Manchester City.
Well, I think really QPR's first foray into foreign land, if you like, it seems to them at the moment. You know, they haven't really got into the Man City half at all. But again, you know, the likes of Joey Barton, Cisse, Zamora, you know, Sean Wright-Phillips, they do have the potential, you know, to cause City problems if they can get into their half.
In the games that really matter, it's 0-0 here. It's 0-0 Sunderland and Manchester United. Stoke are leading Bolton 1-0. Arsenal are 2-1 down at West Brom. Tottenham are in front against Fulham, and Newcastle trail at Goodison. Throwing on the far side of the field to Queen's Park Rangers. Paddy Kenny has a problem with his hand, I gather. I don't know if he hurt it in making that save just a few minutes ago, but he certainly has a problem with it. He's taken his glove off, and could be a problem. Might be a further problem as City are on the attack here. Tevez squeezes the ball through to the left-hand side. Needs a good cross in. Silva's got the ball. Delayed. Now he crosses. Probably far too deep. It's headed down on the edge of the 6-yard box. That wasn't clever defending, but it's lashed away by Hill to at least temporary safety. And then there's a free kick awarded for a foul against Gareth Barry. Let's get an update from John Murray at Sunderland.
Still Sunderland 0, Manchester United 0, but United were a whisker away from taking the lead after Giggs' beautifully flighted corner from the left was headed just over by Jones. So still 0-0 here, but the wind making it very tricky, Alan.
Thank you very much. There's a hole in play here at the Etihad because Joey Barton has gone down, and I thought, actually seeing the replay, I think he may have collided with his own player.
Well, I think he's clashed heads or caught a bit of an elbow. Joey Barton, he's a tough lad, but also I think with Kenny having problems with his hand, with his gloves, I just wonder if Joey Barton's being quite clever and staying down, trying to use as much time as possible, because I think Kenny's getting a little bit of treatment behind the goal, whether it's his finger or there's some sort of issue with his gloves. If I was Kenny, just go down. Surely, because it's a goalkeeper and to do with his hands, the referee has to stop the game and let him get some treatment.
It's going well for Queen's Park Rangers. It's 0-0 here. What news at Stoke, Dan Fletcher?
Well, just to clear up the goal, Alan, it's a 1-0 lead at the moment for Stoke. It's a controversial goal, though, having seen the replay. The goalkeeper, Bogdan, appears to have the ball in both hands. Walters charges into him. Bogdan spills it into the back of his own net. The goal is allowed to stand, and Owen Coyle extremely unhappy. They've had a chance since then, a Petrov cross. Sorensen collided with Huth and threw it a foot wide of his own goalpost. But still, Stoke 1, Bolton 0, and Bolton at the moment facing relegation.
Listeners to 5 Live haven't missed anything here at the Etihad Stadium over the last couple of minutes because Joey Barton's been receiving treatment. He's now had to leave the pitch. I'm sure he'll be back on shortly. Anyway, there's a goal at Sunderland. John Murray.
Manchester United have taken the lead with 20 minutes played. Ball in from the right-hand side from Jones. Turner got his head to it, but it only carried it to the back post to Rooney, who was able to stoop and nod it into the empty net. It swung Manchester United's way. It's Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1.
You do feel an increase in tension around the Etihad Stadium. They know about that goal on Weir's side to the Manchester City fans. Here, Manchester City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0, and already 20 minutes gone in the game. David Silva plays it on to Tevez, edge of the penalty area, wide to Clichy. Clichy's cross, driven in and headed up in the air by the full-back. Taiwo, still not clear of the penalty area. Here's Barry, seemed to be pulled back there by Wright-Phillips. Barry does well, gets it back to Zabaleta. Yaya Toure now from Manchester City. United have taken the lead at Sunderland. At the moment, the title's heading back to Old Trafford. Zabaleta crosses from the right, high into the penalty area, too high for Aguero, met by Clichy, edge of the box. Back to Tevez. Clichy again. Clichy being hustled by a defender on the far side of the field. Tevez plays a 1-2 with Barry. Tevez crosses deep, looking for Zabaleta. Zabaleta takes it on his chest and then whacks the cross in. It was meant as a cross, ran the shot, and it's out of play for a throw into Queen's Park Rangers. A goal at Norwich, Mike Sewell.
A second goal for Norwich, this one scored by Simeon Jackson. Long ball forward, headed into his path by Carlos Cuellar. Jackson just put it into an empty net. Norwich 2, Villa 0.
Here at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Up on Weir's side, it's Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1. Remember, the two Manchester clubs started the day level on points. City had the advantage because of goal difference, but they will have to match Manchester United's result, and at the moment they're not doing that. Manchester City. Yaya Toure to Barry, on to Tevez, back to Barry and Yaya Toure again. flicking it to the right hand side, and Nasri, Zabaleta on the overlap, but Nasri moves infield, runs straight into Sean Wright-Phillips, and it's cleared to Djibril Cissé, and then Cissé gives it away to Zabaleta. Nasri edge of the penalty area into Tevez with his back to goal, seemed to be pulled back there. Silva trying to squeeze his way through, wriggle through, can't find Aguero with the pass, and it's run clear by Barton. Barton went in heavily on Barry. Fair challenge, says Mike Dean. Play continues. Here's Sean Wright-Phillips. Sean Wright-Phillips isn't fairly challenged. He's fouled, and it's a free kick to Queen's Park Rangers.
Well, it's just starting to hot up here a little bit. I think for the neutral, it's worked out perfectly. You know, Manchester United taking an early lead at Sunderland. A lot of the fans here, we're just sitting on the monitors now, biting fingers. News has definitely filtered through. The City fans have gone a little bit quiet. Again, Queen's Park Rangers are still camped in and around the edge of their own box, making it very, very difficult, very little space. It's going to be a really interesting afternoon now. City have to keep their composure. They will create chances. They've got to take them though when they arise.
Here's Djibril Cissé just outside the City penalty area. He's gone down. It's going to be a free kick to Queen's Park Rangers midway through the first half. 0-0 here, which won't be good enough for City. And here's Mike Ingham.
Well, the only good news for Manchester City, I think, at the moment, and Danny's mentioned it already, is the fact that Stoke are leading against Bolton, because that will have filtered through as well to the QPR players, because at the moment QPR are safe, but they have this free kick. And interestingly, when Alan was commentating just then and Sean Wright-Phillips had the ball, I mean, he's hardly had a kick, Sean Wright-Phillips. He's hardly been in the game, Danny.
No, the QPR are really struggling to get any sort of foothold, but this is an interesting position for free kick. You know, probably, well, outside the edge of the 6-yard box, if you like, if you came straight out from the goal line. It'd be difficult to score from here, but you could see this. You know, this is an opportunity. You know, the likes of Twayo around it, Zamora. Again, it's going to be really difficult to score, but again, a chance.
Well, these are the moments in the game that Queen's Park Rangers have to make the most of. As Cissé smacked it in and Hart went down to make the save. Cissé, who's been such an interesting signing in that in the games that he plays, he either scores or gets sent off. What's going to happen to him today? Manchester City 0, QPR 0. Manchester United are leading at Sunderland. Let's go back to John Murray there. John.
Yeah, they're still leading 1-0, but they've got a free kick 25 yards out. Rooney looks favourite to take it. Giggs standing to the right. It's Giggs who will run up first and hit the top of the wall, and it rebounds away across the pitch, and it is a throw-in to United. So Manchester United leading through that Rooney goal, his 34th for United this season.
Here in Manchester, Silva floats the ball into the penalty area towards Zabaleta. Now can Queen's Park Rangers come on a counter-attack? It's the former City player Wright-Phillips down this near side, but he's lost the ball very easily to Yaya Toure. 29 today, Yaya Toure. Feeds Nasri wide on the City right. Tevez and Aguero waiting in the area. The cross comes in, Aguero can't get hold of it, and then Wright-Phillips judged their dangerous play, I think.
No, handball he's given.
Handball. He went diving in at Yaya Toure, and the hand must have flicked the ball as well, and so he's conceded a free kick right on the edge of the Rangers penalty area.
Again, not a dissimilar position to where QPR just had their free kick, just a little bit closer towards goal. Be interesting to see it again on the replay, and just as it comes out, Sean Wright-Phillips, it's the faintest of contacts, and I'm telling you, that may well have been very, very close to the line. I think it was probably closer than the referee's given the free kick. No one appealed for the penalty. Again, this is a difficult angle. I've got Silva over it, Tevez over it. No Kolarov on the pitch at the moment, which he certainly would have favoured it from this position.
Mike Dean is marching out the yards there. He wants the Rangers defenders back. Nasri and Lescott have gone into the QPR wall on the edge of the area. Silva's free kick straight into the Rangers wall. Comes out to Zabaleta. Zabaleta's ball into Company. Company into the QPR penalty area, but Anua is there to steer it out of play to the far side. It's a very anxious and rather nervous Etihad at the moment. They know that Manchester United are leading at Sunderland through Rooney. Here it's 0-0 against Queen's Park Rangers, and at the moment, scorelines stay like that. Manchester United retain the title. Long way to go in the game, though. City over on the left-hand side. They don't get the ball in. They knock it back into midfield. Yaya Toure once more. Down this near side finds Zabaleta. Lots of City players ahead. Tevez now links the play near side. Back into midfield once more. All the Rangers players are back inside their own half behind the ball, including Zamora and Cissé. City having problems finding the space here. Zabaleta now, near side the right. Aguero once more in the penalty area. Zabaleta finds Barry. It was slightly behind him. Barry steers it to the far side of the field. City building. Opportunity to get the ball in down the left. Clichy though is tackled. Mackey's there, back helping the defenders. Big strong run from Mackey towards the halfway line, and that was really good play because Mackey's retained the ball. Company can't get it off him. It's a throw to QPR.
Well, again, a decent breakout from QPR just to relieve a little bit of pressure. But again, City, just starting to get maybe a touch nervous. And this really does remind me, Mike, of the game that we watched in the Nou Camp. QPR are camped so deep in their own half. No real intention of attacking, and that's making it difficult for City to find any sort of space.
Of course, City will be in the Champions League next season. Let's go to Everton, Newcastle. Nigel Adderley.
Doesn't look as though Newcastle will be. Everton lead by 2-0. Nikita Jelavic snatching onto a through ball down the centre. His first shot was brilliantly saved by Tim Krul, but Jelavic recovered to volley the ball high into an empty net. Newcastle all over the place. They trail 2-0 and their Champions League hopes are surely over.
We'll get news of Arsenal in a moment, but now Cisse is going down the QPR right. He whipped the ball into the penalty area. There's nobody there. Wright Phillips will try and keep it in down this near side, but he hasn't. So let's go to Pat Murphy at the Hawthorns.
Arsenal are 2-1 down against a calm, confident West Brom. Arsenal twitchy, the usual fluent passing non-existent. Pat Rice in his last game in the dugout earnestly discussing things with Wenger. As it stands, Tottenham will get the third place, Arsenal will be fourth. It's West Brom 2, Arsenal 1.
Thank you, Pat. And of course Spurs leading through a goal from a Manchester City player. Adebayor getting that goal for Spurs. Let's go back to John Merritt at Sunderland. John.
Still 1-0 to Manchester United, but they've got a free kick, United, in the D. And Howard Webb is just marching back the wall. Rooney is ready to take this. Howard Webb blows the whistle. Rooney is ready. Here he comes, right-footed over the wall and onto the crossbar and over the top. So close to 2-0. It remains Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1.
Thanks, John. It's 0-0 and we'll go back to Pat Murphy again, the Hawthorns. Pat.
Equaliser for Arsenal. Santos got it 25 yards out. Fulham having a nightmare standing in for Foster. Got a glove on it. Should have had a stronger hand. But it's West Brom 2, Arsenal 2.
Here, City hunting the goal. So many players in the penalty area, very tight there for Silva. Rangers got their tackles in and they cleared to the halfway line. Mark Hughes to the right, Roberto Mancini to the left in front, watching the action and the drama unfold in front of us here. 0-0 here, 1-0 to Manchester United. Here comes City once more over on the left-hand side. Clichy into Silva on the edge of the area. Little dink ball in towards Carlos Tevez. He can't turn. Rangers have got so many bodies back in the area. It'll have to go wide. In it goes from Clichy, and the header away by Clint Hill at the back for Queen's Park Rangers, and then Cisse can't hold on to it over on the far side. And we'll go to John Southall at Chelsea.
Well, it's Chelsea 1, Blackburn 0. Simple goal. Lukaku crossed from the right, and there was Terry heading in from 8 yards out. Chelsea 1, Blackburn 0.
But just a reminder at the moment, in terms of Champions League positions, Spurs would finish third and Arsenal fourth, and of course Arsenal then would be sweating on Chelsea whether or not they win the Champions League. You'll hear the commentary, of course, against Bayern next Saturday. Back come Manchester City once more. Relentless possession and pressure here. Rangers at the moment hanging on. Yaya Toure now. Clichy playing as a left winger at the moment down that left-hand side. He's not having to do any defending at all. Tevez wastes that pass though. The ball goes towards the QPR fans behind the goal, away to our right, and it's a goal kick to them.
Well, as you know, we're now half an hour into the game, and City fully aware of what will be happening at the Stadium of Light. And again, City subs warming up. Mancini must possibly be thinking about maybe a change at half-time already. Again, knows that his side have to score a goal. He'll be fully confident in his team. They've just got to keep passing, keep patient. But again, what's making it so difficult? QPR sat so deep, so compact at the back. There's no real space. A couple of times Silva and Aguero got into the box. They've just been crowded out by 3, 4 and 5 players and simply had nowhere to go.
Another hour to go though, and of course QPR have got a feeble away record. City have the best home record in the Premier League. QPR 6 successive defeats in the Premier League. You have to go back to November for the last time they won away from home. And now Nasri again. It's a little bit slow, this build-up, though, from Manchester City. As he goes round right, Phillips. Nasri now taking on Taiwo. He may need some support from Zabaleta. Still Nasri. Yaya Toure available. Can't get the ball into the penalty area, though. They still keep it down this near side of the field, trying to retain their patience and their discipline here, City, with all the Rangers players back, camped out on the edge of their penalty area. Now it's Silva. Silva can't get the ball into Zabaleta, but Rangers are trapped here. Zamora's back inside his own penalty area, but now Wright Phillips gets away from Barry, but he's only got Cisse downfield and he's guarded by 2 City defenders. Wright Phillips just holding on to it, waiting for players to arrive. Zamora, that bobbles away from him, and straight away Manchester City reclaim the ball. Remember, Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1, Spurs 1, Bolton 0, West Bromwich Albion 2, Arsenal 2, Spurs 1, Fulham 0, Everton 2, Newcastle 0, Chelsea 1, Blackburn 0, Norwich 2, Aston Villa 0, Wigan 2, Wolves 1. City once more now with Silva. Queen's Park Rangers back off. Silva's shot is charged down by Joey Barton, but Rangers can't get out of their own half. Ball coming back once more, and it's Lescott. The City defenders aren't having to do any defending at all, so they're throwing Cisse and they're throwing Clichy and Zabaleta forward, and now it's Yaya Toure. Hit that well, a little bit edgily there from Yaya Toure, I thought, towards Nasri by the corner flag. Even the experienced Yaya Toure showing a little bit of apprehension. He finds Nasri to Tevez, shot from Silva, it's wide in the end from City. And another goal at Chelsea from John Southall.
And it's now Chelsea 2, Blackburn 0. Michael Essien cut in from the right, played it to Moreles, and he finished from the edge of the area. Could get messy this for Blackburn. Chelsea 2, Blackburn 0.
Danny, before the game, talking to City folks here, and they were saying we never do it the easy way. They were not optimistic, and at the moment they won't be, will they?
No, certainly won't. And I just think they're finding it very, very difficult, to get in behind. People will say, well, push Yaya Toure further forward, but there's no point at the moment because he can't play any further forward because QPR are so deep. There is literally no space, so they're going to have to be very, very patient, keep moving the ball around, and they're going to have to rely on the likes of Carlos Tevez, Aguero, who hasn't really been in the game at all so far, or David Silva maybe, to come up with something very, very special to get into this game.
Remember, Manchester United are leading at Sunderland through Rooney's goal, so at the moment scorelines stay like they are at the moment, then United are the champions for the 20th time. High ball from City to this near side, still 0-0 here. Nasri now finding Zabaleta. No, he doesn't find Zabaleta, and of course we have to tell you too that Stoke, of course, are one up against Bolton, so at the moment QPR would be safe. Before we go to Sunderland, I'm just looking at Yaya Toure, who's pulled up with an injury problem, so the game will stop here. And let's go to John Merry at Sunderland.
Well, it's still Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1, Rooney's goal, but United have had so many chances now they could already have an unassailable lead in this game. Rooney's free kick that hit the bar, and just now a Rooney missed kick 5 yards out when he really should have scored. He didn't, and it's still 1-0 to United.
Yaya Toure, what did he make of that, Danny? Is he okay?
Well, I think he just overstretched a little bit and just feeling his hamstring. Again, he's got those very, very long legs, and it wouldn't take a lot, but at the moment he's walking around a little bit gingerly, which will be a slight worry for Mancini.
It's interesting that 5 weeks ago today, when Rangers were last in Manchester and they lost at United, that was the day when Arsenal then went and beat Manchester City and Mancini conceded the title effectively. But interesting, in that game at Arsenal, Yaya Toure limped off after 17 minutes when they lost the game. Now, of course, coupled with this game, very much the Stoke-Bolton match. Darren Fletcher?
Stoke still leading here by that goal to 0 scored by Walters. They're having the best spell though, Bolton, Mike. 2 chances. Kevin Davis with a header that came back off the crossbar, and then a brilliant save by Sorensen, full length to his right from a Klasnitz's volley. At the moment, Bolton must score twice without reply. They've got to win or they'll be relegated. Stoke 1, Bolton 0.
Thank you very much. 10 minutes left in the first half. It really is tense here, with United leading and City at the moment being contained by Queen's Park Rangers and not really creating very much either. Aguero, as Danny Mills was saying, is struggling to get in the game. Rangers really feeding on bits and pieces, and now it's some more inside the centre circle. Long, hopeful one to the far side of the field. Of course, City do have to be careful, but Lescott heads the ball away from Cisse. David Platt and Roberto Mancini deep in conversation, hoping that Yaya Toure will be okay, and that was he just nudged that. Oh, he's not running at all well, Yaya Toure, just at the moment. He very much has been the iconic figure, of course, for them in recent times. Toure is struggling, and just to increase the anxieties. City try and go forward. Aguero. In comes a challenge from Anua. Tevez back to Aguero. Onside. Aguero's ball is too deep to the far post, and Nasri won't keep it in. And the other thing, Danny, is that there's just a bit of an edge with the passes, isn't there, too? Do you know what I mean? I mean, even Yaya Toure
definitely
is showing signs.
What happens is, you can't help it. You get a little bit jittery. You try and be, and we've seen it with Fernando Torres. Imagine that you get a little bit too precise if you want, try a little bit too hard, a little bit over-eager, and you just snatch at things, and you don't quite get that fluidity, when you're hitting passes and hitting shots. And that can soon go throughout the whole team. It can spread like a disease.
Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1. Manchester City 0, QPR 0. Spurs are leading 1-0 against Fulham. Arsenal being held by West Bromwich Albion. Newcastle are trailing at Everton. And of course Stoke are 1-up against Bolton. So just at the moment QPR will be safe. Joey Barton now. Rare moments on the ball for Rangers. Derry, of course, who was sent off in that game at Manchester United. They're going to lose this in midfield. Here comes City once more. Yaya Toure now for Nasri. Nasri into Tevez, who's just inside the penalty area. There's so many QPR players in the way. He does well in the end to find Zabaleta. Zabaleta back once more to Carlos Tevez. Tevez into Nasri, and it wasn't a very convincing return ball by Nasri. City fans starting to show their nervousness here, and Lescott doesn't keep the ball in, and Queen's Park Rangers in front of their manager down here, Mark Hughes, have a throw-in.
I think Toure is going to have to come off. He's limping around really, really badly. You can see he's wincing every time he's trying to even break into a jog, and that's going to be a massive blow if he goes off.
Well, that will have such a demoralising effect, won't it?
Well, I know Kompany's won player of the season, but I think Toure has been, for me, the most influential player of the season. The amount of goals that he scored, his performances have been absolutely fantastic.
Mike Dean gives a free kick to City. Of course, one goal from City and everything changes. The whole atmosphere changes. City then on their way to the title. But at the moment it's 0-0 here, and Manchester United are leading back to Stoke and Darren Fletcher.
Well, Bolton have equalised, Mike, in the most bizarre circumstances. Davis burst into the penalty area, Mark Davis that is. Stoke seemed certain to clear it. I think Wilkinson it was who tried to smash the ball away, and it's ricocheted.
Well, back at the Etihad, Zabaleta has scored the breakthrough for Manchester City. The shot was partially saved by Kenny, and Kenny in the end couldn't keep it out, and Zabaleta races to the far side of the field to get them congratulations, and the atmosphere does change because City lead 1-0.
Well, talk about an unexpected way to get back into the game. Zabaleta breaks through on the right hand side, and as he has a shot, Kenny sticks his right hand up, doesn't really get enough on it. I'm not even sure that it was going to go in.
Maybe an own goal.
Well, quite possibly. Zabaleta, into the box, really as a stab at it. Kenny, guys, it's poor. It's poor from Kenny, if I'm honest. He gets two hands on the shot, really just pads it up into the air, hits the far post, and then bobbles in. Well, talk about an unexpected source of goals. I don't think Zabaleta would have been one of the favourites on the score sheet, but Paddy Kenny, disappointing, of course, just as well as Bolton have scored as well, so everything's starting to change.
Yaya Toure is going to come off, I think. Agonising split second there for the QPR fans behind Paddy Kenny's goal, seeing that goal going in just as Bolton have equalised. Things changed, of course, dramatically last week when QPR were in the mire. Then Bolton were caught at the end by West Bromwich Albion. So Zabaleta, courtesy of Kenny, has given Manchester City the lead here, the breakthrough. Let's get reaction from Sunderland and John Murray.
Still 1-0 to Manchester United, but the United fans know the score at the Etihad Stadium because the Sunderland supporters are telling them that it's 1-0 to the City boys.
And Zabaleta would have been long odds, I think, to get the first goal here. I always think it's slightly ironic that when City score, their fans, their devoted fans, turn their backs on them to do the Poznan, because they have never turned their back on Manchester City through those wilderness years. Yaya Toure is not looking good. He's limped off. He may well come back on again. He's talking to his manager, but if ever a team needed a goal, it was then from Manchester City. So just at the moment, of course, QPR would still be okay, because Bolton need to win the game really to put pressure here on Queen's Park Rangers. But it's City 1, QPR 0. And of course now QPR, who have this desperate away record, face not only Manchester City on the pitch, but all these fans as well, who have now transformed the atmosphere. Yaya Toure has come back on again. For how much longer, I'm not sure. Zabaleta has scored the goal. The goalkeeper, Kenny, we felt should have done better, who just flapped at it, palmed it up into the air, then it went slowly into the back of his own net, and that's the breakthrough for Manchester City.
But I don't understand what Yaya Toure is still doing on the pitch. It's ridiculous. He's obviously struggling with a really bad hamstring injury. He's strolling around, jogging at the back, doesn't really want to be involved with the ball or the game. They've got to just take him off. You've got plenty of players on the bench. This is ridiculous. This could cost City.
Unless QPR can respond, though, City will be the champions, and they are going to replace him. Mancini's getting a message to Nigel de Jong. Of course, the other thing that could change everything would be if Bolton scored at Stoke, and then Bolton would be safe, and QPR would have to respond in this game. Just at the moment, QPR hanging on to a Premier League place. But Bolton have come back into the game at Stoke, where it's now 1-1. City are going to have to replace Yaya Toure with de Jong, but they do have the lead as Company now finds Zabaleta, and Tevez is calling for the ball. He's a long way away, though, from Zabaleta. It'll go first to Silva in midfield, and now Barry once more. Rooney with the goal for Manchester United. Zabaleta here for Manchester City. Silva back to Barry. Manchester City, of course, don't need necessarily to go gung-ho here now. They do have the lead, and they do have to make sure they keep things nice and tight themselves, though really we've seen very little threat at all from Queen's Park Rangers. Now Yaya Toure, who we think is coming off in a moment. Could be his last bit of action of the season here. Zabaleta back to Yaya Toure again. Into Silva. Silva to Tevez. Could this be his last appearance for City? Tevez. Zabaleta again. The fact that he hasn't had to do any defending has meant he could go forward to score the goal. Barry now into Aguero, edge of the area. Aguero shot, and it falls kindly for Kenny. Though even having said that, it didn't stick with him first time. Oh, Yaya Toure is sitting down again now, and they do have to make this change, Danny.
Well, it keeps giving mixed messages. 1 minute he says he's coming off, then he says he's okay. Just take him off. City are 1-0 up. Yes, he's going to be a massive loss, but 1-0 now. I think the Bolton game is going to be key. Half-time looms. Mark Hughes is going to have to say to his players, you've got to go and attack. Because, of course, if Bolton do get another goal at Stoke and they overtake QPR will only have themselves to blame. I think now Mark Hughes will certainly want...
Yaya Toure is getting a standing ovation, but let's go to Darren Fletcher at Stoke.
Bolton Wanderers lead, Mike. They've scored 2 bizarre goals in the space of 5 minutes. First, the clearance by Wilkinson hit Davis and ricocheted into the Stoke goal, and then Kevin Davis popped up as a right winger, sent across into the penalty area, mishit it, somehow beat Sorensen, and it's found its way between goalkeeper and near post. Bolton have come from a goal down. They lead 2-1, and with your scoreline at the Etihad, Bolton right now are staying in the Premier League.
Darren, that's a Kevin Davis goal, right? Kevin Davis.
Mark Davis with the first, Kevin with the second.
A lot of people are saying it could be his last appearance as well today for Bolton, so well, anyway, we'll wait and see, of course, but because I think he's out of contract, isn't he, Danny?
Well, but again, that's not good news for City fans. QPR now have got to change their formation, got to change their style in the second half. Because at the moment, of course, now they will be heading out of the Premier League.
Oh, I do love the last day of the season. I mean, the things can change in a second, as QPR found out last week, of course, when they got that late goal. 3 minutes of added time here. QPR, of course, played Stoke last weekend and got that Cisse goal. 1-0 for Manchester City, 1-0 to Manchester United. City would dearly love a second, of course, because as long as it remains like this, anything is still possible. But at the moment, QPR would be going down because Bolton are leading at Stoke. So QPR have to respond now in this game. That is not good news for them at all. Barry of Manchester City. De Jong coming on then for Yaya Toure. We're playing 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first half at the Etihad. They're a little more confident now, but not completely. Throw to Manchester City near side. Silva to take it. Throws it back to Company, but for Mark Hughes now, this is no longer any good really. The fact that all of his players are coming back to defend, that's not going to keep them in the Premier League. They're going to have to start to put some moves together after the break, and there's plenty for Mark Hughes to sort out at half-time here on his return to the Etihad Stadium. Remember, he lost his job 6 days before Christmas when Mancini took over following the 4-3 win against Sunderland. City were 6th then. They could be winning the title this season, and they will if the scoreline stays like this. Barry of Manchester City. They've had all of the ball in this first half. Barry now for Clichy over on the left. Zabaletta's goal, poor keeping from Kenny, and City are now just playing half-time. They're just knocking it around. De Jong to Zabaleta. Silva is the outlet near side the field. Silva taking on Taiwo. Silva bustling towards the penalty area. Little reverse ball, tries to find Zabaleta. Derry's back helping the defenders, and that's the problem for QPR. He just whacks it back to City on the halfway line, and they're going to have much more control of the ball if they're to have any future in the Premier League, QPR, in the second half. Clichy now, left-hand side. It's all City. They lead 1-0, but so do Manchester United. And that goal from Manchester United really made it tense here. United lead 1-0 at half-time. We're going there very soon. Here comes City once more, looking for something before half-time. Silva can't get it in, and then Rangers' clearance from Wright Phillips went straight into Silva's face, and it's out of play for QPR, and it's going to be a throw-in. Danny Mills.
Well, I've just seen the goal again. It's a really soft one. You know, Kenny he goes down to his knees very, very early. He does get 2 hands on the ball, and he just really pushes it up onto the far post. Soft goal, because up until then City had all the possession but hadn't really created opportunity. But at the moment QPR are going to have to change dramatically in the second half if they want to remain in this division.
Paddy Kenny, of course, very closely linked with the previous manager Neil Warnock, who lost his job at the start of the year. Mark Hughes coming in, and it's 1-0 to Manchester City, and it's almost half-time. And we'll be taking you, or in fact it is half-time now, and of course we'll be going around the country for all of those Premier League half-times. So what a first half it's been here in terms of tension and atmosphere, with the news of that Manchester United goal from Rooney, and of course the QPR fans celebrating the fact that Stoke were leading, but everything changed. The goal from Zabaleta, poor goalkeeping from Paddy Kenny, means the half-time score here at the Etihad, with City halfway there. Manchester City 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0.
So as things stand, Manchester City 1, QPR 0, still playing at the Stadium of Light with Manchester United 1-0 up. As things stand, City the champions, United second, as it is Tottenham are going to finish third. Tottenham 1, Fulham 0 is a confirmed half-time. Half-time at the Hawthorns, West Brom 2, Arsenal 2. So as it stands, Arsenal will finish fourth and Newcastle fifth. Everton 2, Newcastle 0 at half-time. Danny, very, very tense. City given a helping hand by an average piece of goalkeeping, let's be honest.
Yeah, it was a poor bit of goalkeeping, a goal from a very, very unexpected source. You know, Zabaleta really just cruised into the box, had a shot which should have been a routine. Had Kenny stayed on his feet, he would have easily caught that, but he went to his knees very, very early, pushed it up onto the far post and went in. Apart from that, City had struggled to break down a compact, resolute, very, very negative QPR. But of course now QPR are going to have to come out in the second half and play a lot better. They do have the threat of Cisse, has shown great pace on a couple of occasions. Sean Wright-Phillips not so much so. I think there may well be a change there at half-time. But at the moment Mark Hughes has to do something dramatic, because at the moment they're going to head out of the division.
OK, let's go to the Stadium of Light then. Manchester City are leading, and John Murray, Manchester United doing everything they can do to try and keep in this title race.
Yes, United doing what they have to do. It is Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1 at half-time. And for 20 minutes it was going their way. That after an unmarked Rooney popped a back post header into the net when it was still goalless in Manchester. United have had enough chances to already have this game won. Sunderland have threatened occasionally. Pat Nevins watching it with me. What have you made of it, Pat?
Yeah, they played very well. After 10-15 minutes when they calmed down a little bit, I thought Valencia was fantastic on the right wing. Chance after chance after chance he's created. Young's coming into the game, and the other side now, he no longer has Barnsley tackling him. But if you go and watch games of football and see players of the level of Scholes and Giggs playing at this level, you could go a long way, another generation before you see that good again. They have been brilliant.
Yes, they've been the stars of the show, the experienced men, Giggs and Scholes. And the United supporters, Mark, who came in their thousands here, I would say more in hope than expectation. Well, I think for 20 minutes they were beginning to believe that it might be going their way. until Zabaletta's goal in Manchester. But at half-time here, Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1.
Well, John, it sounds very much like Manchester United should win that game, so they just have to keep their fingers crossed, United fans, that QPR can do something, can get something from somewhere.
Well, the only thing I would say is that Sessegnon and Campbell have had a couple of half chances in front of goal, so it's not sewn up here. If they play the way they've been playing and create these chances they've been creating in the first half, United will do it, but I wouldn't write off Sunderland yet, and they're certainly not thrown in the towel. It's not an end of season game here from the Sunderland players with half an eye on the holidays. They're going for it, their fans are getting them behind them. They don't want Manchester United to win this game today, so it's not all over yet, but another goal and it will be.
Yeah, I would say, Mark, that watching what we're watching here and listening to what we're listening, at the moment I'm more confident that Manchester United will win here than City will win with you.
So 1-0 to both Manchester teams at half-time. At the moment, City will be champions, United will be runners-up, and at the moment Bolton are staying up in, it sounds, Darren Fletcher, rather extraordinary circumstances at Stoke.
Mark, it's the most bizarre 45 minutes I've seen all season. First of all, Stoke started really well. Bolton were nervous. Stoke had 3 good chances through Fuller, Crouch and Etherington before they took the lead, with a goal that shouldn't really have counted after 13 minutes. The ball was clearly in the hands of Bogdan, the goalkeeper. Walters went bundling into him, and Chris Foy, the referee, allowed the goal to stand. Owen Cole was extremely unhappy. It's quite ironic, really. It's the kind of goal that Nat Lofthouse might have scored for Bolton all of those years ago, when you could do that to the goalkeeper. Bolton were flat at that point, but they regrouped, had a couple of chances. Davis hit the bar, Klaswitz forced Sorensen into a good save, and then they scored 2 bizarre goals. First, Wilkinson tried to clear 5 minutes before half-time. His clearance thundered into Mark Davis and shot like a rocket into the bottom corner beyond Sorensen, and then right on the stroke of half-time, Kevin Davis popped up on the right-hand side of the field. He was actually stood on the touchline with the ball at his feet, went to cross, floated it into the centre, mishit the cross, Sorensen misjudged it, and it went between the gap between goalkeeper and near post. It was a bizarre goal. Bolton at the moment will be staying in the Premier League if the result stays as it is here and as it is at the Etihad as well.
So, Danny Mills, it seemed at one stage as if Queen's Park Rangers would be OK because Bolton were going to lose. Now that Bolton are in front, and at the moment QPR have to try and get something from this game, what's Mark Hughes saying at half-time, do you suppose?
Well, I think he's got to change his whole philosophy. He obviously came here to play a containing game, which on the whole of it pretty much worked. That's what they've done. They have sat very, very deep and been very, very negative, and really they did limit City to opportunities. They just crowded them out in and around the penalty area, but suddenly now, of course, with Bolton, there was that big cheer halfway through, obviously, when the QPR fans heard that Bolton were behind. Now they're in front and QPR are going down. They're going to have to come out and play completely different in the second half. And of course, one goal will literally change everything. That one goal for QPR would mean that they stay up, and of course would mean that City don't win the title. So this game finely balanced, but certainly City are going to have to come out and QPR are going to have to come out and do something completely different in the second half.
So at the moment, Bolton staying up, QPR going down. At the moment, Tottenham will finish third and Arsenal fourth. Arsenal being held 2-2 at West Brom. Pat Murphy, it sounds like a race between the West Brom goalkeeper and the Arsenal back four as to who's more vulnerable.
It's great entertainment though, 2-2, and if Arsenal do get into the Champions League, at the moment they're on 68 points and Tottenham 69. The lower debt to Martin Fulop in for his first league game of the season. Foster out with a groin strain, elementary error early on, overran a back pass, gave Benayoun an easy goal, and then Long, more than a hint of offside there, and Dorrans made it 2-1 Albion after 15 minutes. And then from 30 yards, Santos had a dip, and Fulop got a hand to it, not a strong enough hand, tipped it onto the inside of the post, and in. 2 soft goals. If Foster had been playing, I wonder. Terrific entertainment though. Who would know from watching this game which team is going for the Champions League? No higher praise for West Brom. 2-2 at half-time.
So it sounds, obviously, Pat, with Tottenham winning, Arsenal have got to go for it in the second half, which clearly leaves them open at the back to West Brom.
Definitely, and West Brom are not playing like a side on their holidays. They want to say farewell in the grand manner to Roy Hodgson. They could finish 9th so far in this game, in this season. Chesney's having problems with his back four. They're lacking the usual fluency when they're passing Arsenal. You can always tell when they're playing poorly, because Wenger chunters to Pat Rice, and Pat Rice in his last game in the dugout for Arsenal has got earache after that first 45 minutes.
He's got 45 minutes chuntering left in his Arsenal career, Pat Rice, before he takes a well-earned retirement. Arsenal being held, Tottenham winning. Tottenham going third at the moment, David Oates.
Yes, they're doing their bit. At half-time, they lead Fulham by a goal to nil. That goal very, very early on, 96 seconds. I made it on my stopwatch. Adebayor and Van der Vaart with a lovely 1-2 on the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Fulham's defence at that stage in disarray, and Adebayor tucking the ball past Schwarzer for his 17th of the season. Bale and Van der Vaart both came close to adding to Tottenham's lead, but in the last 10 minutes of the half, just one or two worrying signs for the home side. Risa allowed to run 60 yards and forcing a fine save from Friedel, although he made an even better stop within 60 seconds from Dembele's low 20-yard shot. So Fulham have had a couple of late chances, but Tottenham deserve the half-time lead. Tottenham 1, Fulham 0.
Do Fulham look like they're missing Clint Dempsey? He's been so influential this season, David.
Yeah, I mean, they do look like they're missing Clint Dempsey. I think any team, and particularly one that's just in the, well, ever so slightly in the top half of the table, in Fulham's case, are going to miss somebody who scored 17 Premier League goals, and yes, Fulham do miss him.
Let's go next to Goodison Park. Newcastle's Champions League tilt seems to have come to an end, Nigel Adderley.
It does, and as things stand, Everton will finish above Liverpool. They lead here by 2-0. Newcastle have been a shambles at times in the opening 45 minutes. The goals on 15 minutes, Stephen Pienaar curling in via the back of Mike Williamson, and then just before the half hour, Heitinger's long ball found the Kika Jelavic. He possibly controlled it with his arm, but he then did superbly well to readjust his feet and volley home after his first effort had been superbly blocked by Tim Krul. Newcastle have had their chances, Gutierrez and Cisse shooting wide, but really their first half summed up by one incident. Andre Mariner giving a long lecture to Johan Cabaye after the Newcastle midfielder had angrily snatched the ball off a ball boy who looked about 6 years old. Half time, Everton 2, Newcastle 0.
So as we stand, City will win the title, United will be runners up, Tottenham will qualify automatically for the Champions League. As it stands, Arsenal in fourth will need Bayern Munich to beat Chelsea if they want to be in the Champions League next season. Newcastle on course to finish fifth, and at the other end, Queen's Park Rangers going down at the moment, losing here at the Etihad 1-0. Bolton staying up, 2-1 winners at the moment, 2-1 they're leading at the Britannia away to Stoke City. Chelsea warming up for the Champions League final with a fairly straightforward win at the moment, John Southall.
Absolutely, Mark. Chelsea 2, Blackburn 0 at half-time. Comfortable really for the home side, and the goals from two players who will be absent in Munich next Saturday, John Terry and Raul Meireles. Terry headed in a Lukaku cross, and how he will be missed in the Champions League final, and Meireles finished neatly from the edge of the area. Could have been a lot more really. Sturridge missed a sitter. Lukaku was denied by Jake Keane in the Blackburn goal. He also saved from his own player Gaël Givet. It's a stroll for Chelsea. They lead Blackburn by 2-0.
Next to the Liberty Stadium half-time, Andy Giddy's Swansea and Liverpool.
Swansea 0, Liverpool 0. Swansea the brighter of the sides and with the better chances. They could have scored early on when Danny Graham nearly turned the ball in. Sigurdsson had a shot cleared away from a really well-worked corner, and Donny made a fine save from a Sigurdsson free kick. He did even better later, saving from Dyer after a lovely Swansea move. They're past the game at its best. Liverpool, by contrast, largely with long-range efforts. Carroll's flashing effort over the crossbar, probably the pick of them. And just before half-time, a yellow card for Carroll and Williams after a flare-up between the two of them. Swansea 0, Liverpool 0.
And to Carrow Road, Norwich Villa, Mike Sewell.
Norwich 2, Villa 0. Norwich putting the finishing touches on their campaign, in turn compounding Villa's miserable season, not to mention that of Alex McLeish, who's been berated by his own fans today. Grant Holt improvised to shoulder in his 15th Premier League goal of the season. 3 saves by Shay Given, either side of Carlos Cuellar, gifting Norwich their second when Simeon Jackson scored inside the 6-yard area. It took Villa 40 minutes to have a chance on the Norwich goal. Norwich 2, Villa 0.
And Stuart Hall of the DW.
Yep, Wigan 2, Wolves 1. It looks like 13 games for Terry Conner, his last one, and he hasn't won a single game. But they opened the scoring on 9 minutes. Jarvis cut again from the right, beat El Habsi, but then Wigan came back, 2 goals in a minute. First of all, DeSanto, lovely goal that was, and then on 30 minutes, a boy's header. Wolves looked forlorn, down and out, and Wigan, of course, in euphoria. Wigan 2, Wolves 1.
Just one other football score for you. Juventus beat Atalanta 3-1. 1, so Juve become the first ever team to go unbeaten in a Serie A season which has played over 38 games. Milan did it previously and Perugia, but in fewer games than that. Juventus unbeaten in Serie A. Second half to come. Manchester City on course for the title. It's news time with Matt Hewitt.
Online at bbc.co.uk/5live.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Ministry of Defence says 2 British servicemen have been shot dead by men wearing the uniforms of Afghan police officers. The families of the soldier from 1st Battalion Welsh Guards and the airman from the Royal Air Force have been told. The operators of the helicopter which ditched in the North Sea last week have grounded more of their fleet after a fault was found with a gearbox. Bond offshore helicopters have now also suspended flights of similar models of Super Puma. The administrators running Rangers have accepted a takeover bid from a group led by the former Sheffield United chief executive, Charles Green. He says his group involves investors from the UK, the Middle East and Asia. At least 37 mutilated bodies have been found dumped in plastic bags on a highway in northern Mexico. It's the latest in a series of deaths which are blamed on wars between rival drug gangs. And the Greek president has held a meeting with the leaders of the country's 3 main political parties. If his last-ditch attempt to form an emergency government fails, there'll have to be another election, which could see Greece leaving the Eurozone.
Welcome back to the Etihad. Manchester City 45 minutes away from the title. Here's Alan Green.
No changes and no further changes in the 2 lineups. Remember, an enforced change during the first half for Manchester City. Yaya Toure finally going off. I would have thought at least 5 minutes after he should have gone off with a hamstring problem, to be replaced by Nigel de Jong. City's lineup: goalkeeper Hart, defence Zabaleta the goal scorer, though he was aided and abetted by awful goalkeeping by Kenny. Company, Lescott and Clichy, then Barry and de Jong, Nasri, Tevez and Silva, and finally Aguero. Queen's Park Rangers goalkeeper Kenny, defenders Anua, Ferdinand, Hill and Taiwo, then Derry and Barton in the centre of midfield, Mackie to the right, Phillips to the left, and Cisse and Zamora ostensibly strikers, but Danny Mills most of the time they've been defending.
Yeah, QPR were very, very poor. They obviously had a game plan to come here and get a result, thinking that Bolton wouldn't get a result at Stoke, but obviously that's now not the case. Mark Hughes will have to have very, very firm words, change certainly the style of play. QPR now have got to go for it a little bit, and that will probably help Manchester City, because they sat so deep. There was no space at all in and around the 18-yard box. Now, with QPR having to push forward, that'll just give the likes of Tevez, Aguero, who really struggled to get into the game. I mean, 1 or 2 gaps, and again, this could easily go either way now. QPR could scrape themselves back into it by scoring a goal, which would be massive for them, and of course massive for City as well. Or I think if City get another one, they could go on and score 3 or 4.
As things stand, Manchester City will be champions. United will finish 2nd, Tottenham 3rd, Arsenal 4th, Newcastle 5th, and Bolton will stay up, and Queen's Park Rangers would be relegated along with Blackburn and Wolves. Mike Dean, the referee, finally gets a signal from television, and we can get the second half underway. City all in sky blue, Queen's Park Rangers in red and white quartered shirts, red shorts and red socks. So here come Manchester City, 45 minutes away from the title. It's with Clichy on to Barry on the halfway line. Silva has started down the left side. Silva to Tevez very quiet in the first 45 minutes. Clichy in support, ball to Clichy into the near post. Aguero's there, and I think his shot saved by Kenny behind for a corner.
Yeah, and again, with QPR having to play a bit more advanced, get a bit further up the pitch, already 1 or 2 gaps opening up.
A second goal would calm City nerves. Nasri takes the corner, right-footed, doesn't beat the man on the near post, but the header runs to Silva. Nasri's available again. Can he do better with this attempted cross, right-footed, in towards Lescott, headed clear by Hill. De Jong from the clearance. De Jong then fouled by Joey Barton, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. United kicked off the second half at precisely the same time. Maybe that's why the referee was waiting here.
Well, I think
so the two referees in the two critical games,
exactly. They're both on telly as well.
On the whistle, and they're both on telly.
Exactly. But I think a second goal here would certainly, I think, would get the party started. I think City fans would go absolutely delirious if they were managed to get another goal.
Nasri's free kick from 25 yards, wall dipping, but not quickly enough, and it's over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick.
Well, I think hopefully now that from the City fans' point of view, the fact that QPR have to come out, they have to get more forward and attack, will open up the game, and that will play into City's hands, and they will feel a bit more comfortable in that situation.
What was strange was if they were waiting to coincide the kickoffs for the second half, we had 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first period, so we finished long after the half-time whistle went at the Stadium of Light.
And whose watch are we going off anyhow?
Fergie's watch. Fergie time. He'll tell you how long there is to go. Well, Mark Hughes has a number of attacking options on the bench. He's got DJ Campbell, Bothroyd and Tarabt. I think Tarabt might be on quite quickly.
Well, I think they're going to have to do something. Sean Wright-Phillips, I know he's come back here. He hasn't played an awful lot of football.
Done nothing. Oh, there's a mistake by Lescott. Here's Cisse through and it's 1-1. What an error by Jolyon Lescott. And Queen's Park Rangers fans are delirious. And so too, I suspect, are Manchester United fans up at Sunderland. What an error. What a finish from Cisse. 6 goals for him. And it's 1-1 here at the Etihad.
Well, just unbelievable, almost speechless. A goal from absolute nothing. It was that player we just saw. Sean Wright-Phillips was involved in, I don't know, he just kicked the ball into the air, really, under challenge from Zabaleta. Lescott got it completely wrong. Literally just flicked the ball into Cisse's path. And as he was through, one-on-one, little bit of pace, just drove the ball. No real chance for Joe Hart. And really, well, QPR fans have gone absolutely delirious. City fans, silenced, absolutely dumbfounded. And what a goal that is. Changes absolutely everything.
At the moment, Manchester United will be champions and Bolton will be relegated. Queen's Park Rangers will stay up. John Murray at Sunderland.
2,300 Manchester United supporters inside the Stadium of Light are absolutely jubilant. They're singing and dancing in the end behind Mignolet's goal to our right. Manchester United still winning here through that Rooney first half goal, and he's already had a chance in the second half that was saved by the Sunderland goalkeeper. Rooney could have had a hat-trick in this game easily. It's Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1.
Well, rather cheekily, the Queen's Park Rangers fans are doing the Poznan here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. United lead 1-0 at Sunderland. On course to win another title, Manchester United. Clichy on the attack for Manchester City, who have to score again. Stung into action. Back to the quiet Aguero. Into De Jong, 30 yards out. Onto the far side, and Zabaleta score the City goal, and it goes to Tevez in the penalty area. Tevez shoots weakly and it's easily saved by Kenny.
Well, so far it's been two costly errors. Kenny in the first half allowed City to take the lead, and then Lescott, disastrous back header, didn't get anything on it, completely misjudged it. And again, suddenly now normal service has been resumed. QPR have retreated right back, almost onto the edge of their own area. And again, City are going to find it very, very difficult to break them down again.
14 minutes to go here. It's 1-1. What news at Stoke? Darren Fletcher.
Well, Bolton still leading here by 2-1, Alan, but as soon as the goal was scored at the Etihad, the Bolton fans behind Sorensen's goal away to my right all sat down on their seats and they look extremely glum-faced. They've had a chance to extend the lead at the start of the second half, but Petrov fired wide. Incidentally, we kicked off almost 2 full minutes before you did, so QPR will know the result of this match before you finish at the Etihad.
Thanks very much, Darren. Here, Manchester City on the attack. Nasri down the right, plays it in low, almost an own goal off Hill's boot. Behind for a corner.
Wow, incredible. First time Nasri's really got in behind. Twired down that right-hand side for Man City. Drove the ball across and Hill just swung a leg. And it must have been only just a foot over the bar. I think this game is going to be certainly lost on a mistake.
Silva to take the corner for Manchester City, who have to match Manchester United's result. Silva from the right, plays the corner in left-footed, brilliantly played towards Tevez. Tevez missed kick, ball rebounds to Zabaleta shot a goal, flicked on by Aguero. Surely Aguero had to be offside. Goodness gracious.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Again, it was
maybe not actually, because Taiwo was back.
Yeah, it must have been a decent decision by the linesman. But there was 2 or 3 Man City players at the back post that looked offside, but Taiwo had been a little bit sleepy. But again, Zabaleta firing it in. Is it going to be his day perhaps? But QPR living very, very dangerously.
Talking about great decisions, by the way, as my producer Alistair Yeomans points out, it was a fantastic advantage played by the referee Mike Dean. He was about to blow for a foul on Sean Wright-Phillips before Lescott made the error that put Cisse through, and it was a really good finish by Cisse. Now Hill's under pressure from Aguero, gets the ball back to his goalkeeper Kenny, and Kenny slashes the clearance towards the halfway line. Barry jumps, heads it on to Aguero, flicked infield to Tevez. Silva's ahead of Tevez. Tevez easily tackled, loses it to Anua. Tevez has hardly contributed to the game.
I'm just glad you carried on then. I thought you were going to ask me to praise the referee. I thought no chance.
All right, fine. Well, I'm normally hammering them, but sometimes you have to applaud when they merit it. Doesn't happen very often, Danny.
I've never seen it.
We've already played 7 minutes here in the second half. Manchester City 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Pat Murphy at West Brom.
3-2 to Arsenal. Another mistake by Fulham. In swinging corner, Fulham flapped at it. Koscielny turned it in from 3 yards. As it stands now, Arsenal have that third place spot on 70 points. Tottenham on 69. West Brom 2, Arsenal 3.
Well, we're going to have some drama, aren't we? The remaining 38 minutes here. Whatever happens, wherever it happens, you can hear it on 5 Live in the BBC. Barclays Premier League, final day of the season. Tevez down the left-hand side, tackled by Joey Barton. The ball out of play for a throw into Manchester City. There's not enough noise from the City fans. They're far too quiet.
Well, I think City fans very, very nervous, very, very jittery. QPR fans jittery and nervous themselves. Again, one goal again will change everything. I think this has got to be the most tense game, I think, around everywhere this afternoon. Both teams so much at stake. City with their first title for so many years. QPR, big money, big owners looking to stay in the division.
Here's Nasri. Now Tevez has gone down, clutching his face. Oh goodness, the assistant has seen it. So whatever's about to happen, I think it's going to be a red card here.
I think Joey Barton's been involved. There was just a little bit after they had the tackle.
I didn't
in the
see
corner
it, but
flag.
the assistant did.
No, there was a little bit of afters after they had something down in the corner flag, and it'll be interesting to see what the referee's seen. Just looking at the monitors, not yet to see a replay, but obviously that the linesman was flagging furiously to indicate something.
Well, I think there will be a red card here, Tevez is now back in his feet. Mike Dean, the referee, is going across to the far side just to check out precisely with his assistant what went on. I didn't see it. Meantime, there are players pushing each other on the edge of the penalty area. Mike Dean now knows what the assistant has seen.
I've just seen the replay, and from the angle, it was very, very far away. It was a very, very high angle. I don't think there was an awful lot in it. There was a bit of a coming...
Red card! Joey Barton sent off.
Well, we'll have to see a close-up view. But from first look, when it was very, very far away, the TV replay, it certainly didn't look anything particularly bad. It was more about a coming together, maybe a bit of pushing.
And now there's more pushing. Goodness gracious. The game was losing control. And Barton is being ushered off. There's another Manchester City player has gone down.
It's Aguero. It's just, I think he's just raised his leg, and I think he's kneed Aguero is what he's done. To be fair, Mika Richards has got involved, and he's trying to calm Joey down and drag him out of the way before it all kicks off.
He is. I mean, Barton initially reacted very badly to Mika Richards. Richards is trying to cool things down.
Yeah, no, Mika's doing a good job here. I think it's Balotelli that's trying to get involved as well.
Oh, wouldn't he? What a surprise that is. Right, more drama. Can you believe it? 1-1 here at the Etihad Stadium, but Queen's Park Rangers down to 10 men, and Barton has kicked Aguero. That we've just seen the replay.
He's need him in the
whatever.
Ball, yeah.
It was enough to get Terry sent off in the Nou Camp, and Barton is in further trouble. because they'll hammer him for this, not just for the initial incident for being sent off, but for how he followed up.
Yeah, you're right. It was very, very similar to John Terry's knee. It wasn't massive force involved in it, but it was certainly enough. Well, it would have been enough to get a red card had he already not have had one. But we still really haven't seen the first incident again. There was a coming together, not really sure what was going on. But again, shades of a knee in the back, someone getting sent off. Everyone's now going to sit behind the ball. Could this be Chelsea, Barcelona all over again?
Well, it could be. But you do think if City score now, then Queen's Park Rangers will not be able to get back into it.
Well,
and they've got a free kick coming up, remember?
No, of course, but I'm still waiting to see it. Couldn't really see what happened from the first incidents. Tevez and Barton, there was obviously something that was said to each other after the tackle in the corner flag, and then there was a little bit of afters after that, and then really not sure what happened.
Let me just sum up. It's 1-1 here. Manchester United lead 1-0 on Wearside. At the moment, United will be champions. Arsenal will finish third. Spurs fourth. Newcastle fifth. And Queen's Park Rangers will stay up, not Bolton. But here's a City free kick, a foot outside the penalty area. Tevez is going to take it. Queen's Park Rangers have got everybody back defending this free kick. City have to win the game, with United winning. Mike Dean blows his whistle. Here comes Tevez. Tevez shoots low, deflects off the wall, shot goalwards, blocked by the body of Kenny. Nasri's shot was heading towards goal, crossed in again by Tevez, headed up in the air by Ferdinand. And the ball breaks to Tevez, and it's a wild shot from the Argentine. It's so wild it's not even going behind for a goal kick. It's on the far side of the field. Kept in play by Barry. Back to Zabaleta. Zabaleta on to Nasri. Now Silva. Silva got a bit of a nudge there. Then there was another hefty challenge by Derry. Ball breaks out of the penalty area. De Jong to Zabaleta, just to the right of the box. He tries to cross, blocked by the defender. Taiwo behind for a corner.
Well, it's going to be fantastic now. City are going to throw everything at Queen's Park Rangers, who have no choice but to just defend deep. And that they're just going to have to block bodies, send people in. There's a change being made as well.
Yeah, they're going to bring on Traore, and they're taking off the goal scorer, Cisse. We'll go to Sunderland in just a moment, where they've got a corner here from Manchester City. One goal can change everything. We've seen that.
Oh, it's incredible. And City now are going to throw everything at Queen's Park Rangers. The kitchen sink, the whole lot, the sofas, everything down the back of the sofa to try and get back into this and, well, overtake them and, of course, win the title.
Silva over the corner, left-footed, in-swinging towards Kenny's goal, bounces in the 6-yard box. Tevez rushes to keep it. Oh, it must have taken the deflection off a defender. It has, and it's another corner. John Murray will be with you in a moment. Corner to Manchester City again, who have to win the game. Manchester City 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. This time it's Tevez to take it. Tevez plays it in, and it's headed behind. John Murray, can you do 10 seconds?
Thrilling game here now, Alan. 31 minutes to go. 1-0 to Manchester United, but Sunderland have had a good spell. They've created alarms inside the Manchester United box. United still just in front, 1-0.
City corner taken. It's with Tevez again. Back from De Jong. Tevez tries to cross low. Hits the defender. Tevez shoots. Good save by Kenny. Header down by Barry. Pierce round ball. Is it turned into the line? What is the referee's decision?
No goal.
No goal, my goodness.
Linesman was in a fantastic spot. Kenny
just for a second I thought the ball had squeezed over the line.
Kenny makes amends from Aguero. It's like pinball wizard inside the box. There's shots going in, there's deflections, all sorts is going on. And then really Kenny again spilled the first one, turned round, dived on the second one, and a very, very good decision by the linesman, who, for me, definitely wasn't over the line.
By the way, Chelsea 2, Blackburn 1. And Mark Pugac has seen another replay in which Joey Barton, it seems, tried to headbutt Company. Oh, he's a reformed character, is he, Joey Barton? Here's Nasri for Manchester City. Practically everybody standing in the stadium now. Back it goes to De Jong. Quarter of an hour played in the second half. 1-1, not good enough for Manchester City. And there's been a goal at Tottenham. David Oates.
It's a second goal for Tottenham just after Dembele hit the post of Fulham. Jermaine Defoe, with his first touch on as a substitute, has poked in. So Tottenham are doing their bit. At the moment, it won't be enough to get third place. It will be enough to get fourth, and then they'll be sweating on Bayern Chelsea in the Champions League final. Tottenham 2, Fulham 0.
I mean, I know that we have the benefit of replays, but that was a clear handball by Onua. That should have been a penalty to Manchester City.
Well, I think, as we said, it is like Pinball Wizard. There's bodies flying around, the balls flying around, taking ricochets left, right and centre. And of course that came off the back of, or just before, Aguero turned and shot, and Kenny spilled it and then grabbed it just before it went over the line.
Half an hour of drama to come here on 5 Live. It's with Aguero just to the right of the penalty. He seemed to be pulled over there by Taiwo, and the assistant had a clear view of that but didn't signal, and play continues. But Manchester City have the ball. Silva, remember Manchester United leading 1-0 at Sunderland. Now Aguero drives the ball low into the penalty area. It comes away off a QPR defender, and here's Mackie hits it to the halfway line. Oh, we know what's going to happen. They're down to 10 men. They're just going to defend Queen's Park Rangers.
Well, like we've said before, they are going to have to just sit deep. QPR, don't forget, are playing for their future as well. They are going to try everything possible to defend this point and keep themselves in the league.
A header forward by Zabaleta, loops in the air and falls into the arms of Kenny, the goalkeeper for Rangers. Is there any defence whatsoever for the Queen's Park Rangers captain Barton?
No. Simply, but again, I would like to see the first one. One, it was very close to the penalty area.
Here's Aguero's onside. Good tackle by him on Hill, but Aguero still has the ball. He's got Silva to his right. Forward in the penalty area is Tevez. Not a good pass to Tevez, and it's slashed away by Anua, out of play on the far side of the field. 17.5 minutes gone here in the second half at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. United are leading on Weir's side, and they're going to be champions again unless City can match their result. Cliche crosses from the left, easy catch for Kenny. That's poor.
It is, and Kenny has made a few good saves. I don't want to put the commentator's curse on him, but after that mistake in the first half, he has made some decent saves. And again, whatever Joey Barton done certainly isn't excusable, but I would still like to see the first incident, which we haven't really seen on any sort of decent replays yet.
Speaking of errors, what about the error of Lescott's that led to Cisse's goal? Zabaleta from the right, not a great cross, hits the defender, rebounds to Silva. Zabaleta again, back now to De Jong, a first half replacement for Yaya Toure. Now Silva, a yard outside the penalty, a couple of yards outside the penalty area, back to De Jong. City probing, hoping for a chink in that defence. It goes back to Tevez. Tevez' return pass was awful. It's out of play, and it's a Rangers throw-in.
Well, and Rangers now, fantastic little respite for them. A little bit of a breather. They're going to have to suck it in. Just looking at Mancini down on his haunches. Nervous times, and I think the sending off, he will know that QPR will sit in, will make it very, very difficult. And again, City fans not particularly vocal. I think they are certainly nervous and a touch worried right now.
It's easy sitting up here, I know, but I don't understand what Tevez is contributing out there, and I think either Dzeko or Balotelli would give City something different. Here's Nasri down the left side into Aguero. He's also been quiet. Back to Barry to De Jong, and De Jong to Silva to the right of the penalty, into the penalty area. Zabaleta, poor pass from Zabaleta, cleared by Queen's Park Rangers. And Taiwo, well, goodness gracious, he just whacks it about 60 yards upfield. Hart meets it with his chest 20 yards outside his penalty area. Finds Lescott, whose error led to Cisse's equaliser. On it goes to Silva now, as Rangers so deep in defence, but a draw will be enough to keep them ahead of Bolton. Company to Tevez. Tevez crosses into the penalty. Oh, it's an easy catch for Kenny. That really is very poor from Tevez.
Yeah, it hasn't really contributed a lot this afternoon, apart from the Joey Barton incident. He's been quiet, and I think again because of that, Aguero's been quiet as well.
Right, here's Tarap running down the left-hand side. Can he get the cross in? There it goes, deep, here's a chance, and it's a header, and it's a goal by Mackie to put Queen's Park Rangers 2-1 in front. Remarkable scenes at the Etihad, and I suspect remarkable scenes at the Stadium of Light too. The title is heading to Old Trafford. John Murray.
Well, Manchester United supporters here cannot believe their ears. United are leading, but only by 1-0. But now you could say Manchester United are favourites.
Well, absolutely phenomenal. A fantastic run down the left-hand side. Only Queen's Park Rangers players in the box, and it was Mackie left unmarked at the far post. It was just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. The header headed it into the ground. I just say, great pace from Traore down the left-hand side, fantastic, and Mackie's header at the far post, really diving header. Well, in between, Joe Hart had no chance. Lescott couldn't quite get there on the line. Against the run of play, with 10 men, you should have seen the QPR bench. You know, Mark Hughes, Mark Bowen, Eddie Nedvesky as well, Kevin Angle went absolutely berserk. They know that could be the cushion that they need to keep them in the Premier League.
If you gave the script to Hollywood, they'd certify you. Queen's Park Rangers lead 2-1. De Jong shoots, blocked by Derry. Dzeko's coming on very shortly from Manchester City. Well, he could take Aguero off, he could take Tevez off, neither have really contributed.
Well, I think Mancini should have taken his jacket and scarf off. I think he might be going on. I think certainly, well, you saw his reaction when that goal went in. I don't speak Italian, but at that point he was speaking English, and it wasn't particularly pretty.
Mamma mia. Here's Nasri forward. 2 yards outside the Rangers penalty area. Back to the ineffective Tevez. Tevez finds Silva. Silva on his left foot. Declined to shoot the first time. Shoots wild and high behind for a goal kick. John Murray.
Manchester United with a free kick on the edge of the Sunderland penalty area. United still leading here by 1-0, but Sunderland have had their moments in the second half. The United supporters have made it absolutely clear to the players that Queen's Park Rangers have scored twice. Sir Alex Ferguson came to the edge of the coaching area for the first time. The free kick for United, Giggs takes it, deflected, Valencia shoots across the penalty area, through everyone and beyond and out for a throw-in. 1-0 Manchester United lead.
And my heart can't take any more, Michael. It's all to you.
Well, I've got butterflies, Alan, and I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind who wins this title as we sit here dispassionately. So imagine what it must be like for the fans of Manchester City, Manchester United, and of course the fans of Bolton and Queen's Park Rangers. Shot driven in from Nasri, not cleared yet by QPR. In goes Aguero, but Traore's there on the edge of the penalty area. Dzeko's waiting to come on for Queen's Park Rangers. The thing is, though, now there is a cushion, of course, for Manchester. Even if Sunderland equalise, if it stays like this here, if it stays like this, Manchester United will be champions. And Bolton, they're leading, but as long as it stays like this here, of course, QPR is staying up. QPR just need a point to stay up. Gareth Barry has been sacrificed to Dzeko, who at the moment has taken up a position down the left-hand side, and here he comes for the first time. 2-1 to Queen's Park Rangers. Dzeko hits it with too much pace. Taiwo's there, brings it down sweetly, and then plays it off a City player. May still be kept in by Company. It is. So that wasn't great defending by Taiwo. Cross driven in. Hill heads it away. Back to Company once more. Incredibly, Queen's Park Rangers down to 10 men have come from a goal behind here to lead by 2-1. Joey Barton sent off. It's now Clichy for Manchester City. They have to win the game. Nasri's shot is just wide. It's a corner to Manchester City.
But you're right, Mike, it's going to have to be a 2-goal swing. And I've just seen the replay of the Joey Barton sending off, and it doesn't. I'm still not sure there was an awful lot in it. I don't think it was a clash of coming together. After that, inexcusable.
Corner kick is deep from Manchester City. Lescott desperate to redeem his error, can't get the header in. Zabaleta drives it forward, and now it's cleared. Of course, this Manchester City side, when Barry was on the pitch, 6 of the players signed by Mark Hughes, including Zabaleta, who scored the goal. Everton now lead Newcastle by 3-0. Lescott at the moment's playing as a centre forward. It's Clichy down the left-hand side. Cross is headed away by the former City player Anua, and the clearance completed by Bobby Zamora. Queen's Park Rangers incredibly here with their terrible away record lead Manchester City unbeaten at home for 17 months. Haven't lost here in the Premier League since they lost to Everton in 2010. Christmas time. Tevez drills the ball in towards Nasri. Rangers desperate to get challenges in, legitimate challenges, because the ball was in the penalty area. Zabaleta once more into Nasri. Everybody coming back from Queen's Park Rangers to defend. Nigel de Jong now. Lescott to the near side to Clichy. Clichy trying to whip the cross in here down the left-hand side. In comes the cross, and it's cleared by Clint Hill once more. Relentlessly back to Manchester City once more. We are 25 minutes into the second half, and Carlos Tevez is jinking forward. But in goes Traore, and the clearance goes all the way back to Joey Hart. Now the only thing I saw Tevez go down, the thing was that Barton clearly connected with, as the cross comes in from Zabaleta, and then the chance may fall to Clichy at the far post. Clichy's high ball to the far post. Great defending from Queen's Park Rangers. Zabaleta knocks it in. It takes a deflection. It'll be a corner. What was the extent of the contact from Barton on Tevez? We don't know, because it's all been long range so far. But Tevez went down straight away, and Barton was set, and what he did afterwards was absolutely inexcusable.
Yeah, what he did afterwards was worse, but I think that initial contact, it wasn't, what you would presume a blatant elbow.
Corner kick to Manchester City, chasing the game. Header driven in from Carlos Tevez and turned away by Paddy Kenny for a corner kick to Manchester City.
What I mean by that, it wasn't a standing side by side, just raise his arm and smack him in the face. It was just a little bit of a raise almost towards his shoulder, and Tevez went down possibly easily, but again, I'm sure we'll see it much clearer later on.
But it was completely senseless, whatever the contact from Joey Barton. The ball was far away. Corner kick now for Manchester City. Kenny struggling there. It comes down in the end and driven in from Zabaleta. It's gone wide. Is it another corner? Yes, it is, given by Mike Dean. Corner kick to City over on the far side.
And this is it's going to be Queen's Park Rangers facing the Alamo now. I'm not even sure they're going to get out of their own 18-yard box.
2-1 to Queen's Park Rangers, 1-0 to Sunderland, to Manchester United at Sunderland. Tevez stretches to head the ball back, knocked in by Nasri. It's almost impossible at the moment to see blue shirts in there, because there are so many Queen's Park Rangers players in the penalty area defending for their lives. Bolton, remember, lead 2-1, but if it stays here with this situation, Queen's Park Rangers set another ball in the area. Anton Ferdinand doing his bit for his brother there, heads the ball out of play, and Queen's Park Rangers with Mackie, the man who got the second goal here, sets off this powerful player down the right-hand side. Played the ball through Clichy's legs, but there's nobody downfield. Earlier, Cisse equalised. I think I said earlier, he either scores or he gets sent off. Well, he scored here today. The man who, when he was of course, at Liverpool, was known as the Lord of the Manor of Frodsham, Cheshire. Well, he's got the goal here, which got Rangers back into the game, and Mackie scored the second. Now Carlos Tevez going forward, being forced wide. Shot is drilled in, and it's poor. It may have got a deflection, did it? And no, it didn't this time. So goal kick to Queen's Park Rangers, and there is so much activity down there on the bench with 17 minutes to go. Brian Kidd, are we going to see Balotelli's coming on.
Off. And I think again,
well, he owes them, doesn't he, Danny? If ever there was an occasion to repay.
Well, Tevez owes them, Balotelli owes them. There's a few out there that certainly need to do their bit. But again, it has to be a 2-goal swing, and with 17 minutes to go, City need a goal, I think, before the last 10 minutes.
So many scarves being sold in the centre of Manchester today, proclaiming prematurely the title for Manchester City. But at the moment, it's heading back to Manchester United. They're leading 1-0 at Sunderland through Rooney's goal here. Queen's Park Rangers have turned the game on its head. They're leading here by 2-1. City pouring forward once more. Nasri on the edge of the area, the ball bobbling a little bit. Nasri being faced by Bobby Zamora. Little floater from Nasri, finds Zabaleta on the edge of the area. Cushion pass back to Silva, but there's no space here. It's a bit like Chelsea-Barcelona, as Danny was saying, all over again. There is no space here for Manchester City. Zabaleta on the edge of the area. Diving header away by Queen's Park Rangers. Mackie gets his foot on the ball, sends it back towards the halfway line, and City set off again. Just over 15 minutes to go. City need to get a couple. That's assuming, of course, Sunderland don't equalise against Manchester United. City just slowing things down here, and Clichy wanted the ball down the left. They're ignoring him. They're going down the centre, and Nasri shot is airborne and wide. And just to remind you again that in the Champions League positions, as Balotelli's prepared to come on for Tevez, we've got Arsenal leading 3-2 at West Bromwich Albion. So they are going to secure third place at the moment. Spurs 2-0 up against Fulham. Everton beating Newcastle by 3-1. So, and Bolton Wanderers are leading 2-1 at Stoke, but at the moment it won't be enough for Bolton, with Rangers leading here 2-1. So it wasn't Carlos Tevez's day. Could it be Balotelli? He comes on. Remember, he hasn't played for them since he was sent off on the day when City pretty much conceded the title at Arsenal. And he did, of course, get a crucial goal here. Remember, in that comeback against Sunderland, the 3-3 draw. Back to Stoke, Darren Fletcher.
Well, there's a penalty for Stoke City, Mike, and if they score it, it would be a big nail in the Bolton Wanderers Premier League coffin. Bogdan fouled Crouch. Here comes Walters from the penalty spot, and he scores. Stoke City 2, Bolton Wanderers 2, and Bolton Wanderers heading out of the Barclays Premier League.
And the Queen's Park Rangers fans away to the right celebrate once more. They've had quite a bit to celebrate. They went very quiet here when Zabaleta scored before half-time to give Manchester City the lead. QPR, with only 10 men, Barton having been sent off, have turned it round in the second half with goals from Cisse and Mackie. But City are going forward again. They've thrown Balotelli on for Carlos Tevez. They're in the last 15 minutes of the game. De Jong, there is no space here for Manchester City. Ball hoisted in and Ferdinand's waiting for it. QPR will be confident of winning those balls in the air as City set off once more in the deep. Nasri to Clichy. 2-1 to Queen's Park Rangers. Silva back to Nasri. Nasri plays the ball into the area to Balotelli for the first time. On the edge of the area, it's Mario Balotelli. Balotelli taking on Rangers defenders, goes down under the challenge and wins a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area.
Oh, I think just there was a tiny little bit of a shirt pull and Balotelli just stumbled. Again, it was a little bit soft, I think, from Mike Vean as well. Only about 2 inches outside the 18-yard box as well.
It's 1-0 to Manchester United. It is 2-1 to Queen's Park Rangers. The free kick has been given to David Silva. In it goes to the far post. QPR stand firm. It comes out to Nasri. Nasri brings it down. Will use De Jong square. De Jong thinks about the shot. Can't get the ball past the Rangers defenders. And now all on his own. Sean Derry can't hold it up. And Manchester City storm forward once more. Silva trying to get away from the marker. It's on to Aguero, who's been pretty quiet in the game. Aguero's going to try and pull his back with goal. And Rangers have scrambled it away for a corner kick. That was a good chance for Dzeko.
Well, do you know what? I thought that was in for a moment. I think it was the deflection of Clint Hill. I think it was. Took it onto almost the foot of the post, and from our angle it looked in, and certainly a few City fans jumped up as the back of the net rippled.
13 minutes to go. Corner kick was aimed towards Balotelli. Balotelli swings a boot at it, and now Rangers need to thump it downfield, and they do. Well, what was it that Sir Alex Ferguson said about Mark Hughes? He wrote in his book, Mark Hughes is a warrior with whom you would trust your life. Well, at the moment, Manchester United's title really depending on Mark Hughes and Queen's Park Rangers, and at the moment Queen's Park Rangers are doing them proud. Even more important than doing themselves proud, because they're staying up. Bolton are being held 2-2 at Stoke now. Manchester United won up through Rooney at Sunderland, but back come Manchester City once more. A goal now and everything would change in terms of atmosphere in the stadium. It's Vincent Kompany looking for a 1-2 with De Jong. De Jong now for Nasri. On to Balotelli. Dzeko's pointing. Balotelli's just inside the penalty area. Balotelli's ball in towards Aguero. Rangers desperate to get a foothold here, but Balotelli's won it back again. Shot palmed away by Kenny, and then Wright Phillips just lumps the ball back into the City half. I mean, all Hart has had to do today in this second half is pick the ball out of the back of his net twice. When Queen's Park Rangers scored those unlikely goals, the first a mistake by Lescott, and then Mackie getting the second. Cross comes in, headed away by Derry to this near side. He gets enough power on it, and with just over 10 minutes to go, Manchester City have a throw.
Well, incredible. You know, City are just going to have to keep working the ball, keep trying to get back in this. You know, they're flashing balls across. They just need a little bit of luck, or one of their special players to come up with something. QPR just throwing themselves in front of every single ball, blocking shots, heading crosses, making it so difficult for City.
They've been at it since August, and it's all come down to this as Dzeko plays some head tennis in the penalty area, and Rangers with Mackie with a big high ball. But of course, for City, it's much more about the sort of 9 or 10 months they've been playing in the Premier League. It's 44 years, and now Zabaleta once more in the sunshine. That's about the only bright thing for City here at the moment in the stadium. It's Silva once more. They're trailing by 2-1, the home team. Balotelli twisting and turning on the edge of the area, and then he expected, I think, Clichy to make a run down the left-hand side. Didn't materialise, and QPR have a throw. Mark Hughes lasted for only 3 months after the takeover, and then just before Christmas was given the sack, and it's a throw to Queen's Park Rangers, which Anua takes. It's Wigan 3, Wolves 1, by the way. Boyce has scored here for Wigan. Wolves had gone in front in that match. Manchester City again with Silva. Silva now to Zabaleta down the right. Cross coming in from Zabaleta is headed away. What a return to the Etihad for Mark Hughes. here today on this final day of the season. He could be denying Manchester City the title that they covet so much. It's silver for Manchester City. There is still time for the home side, but they must get one back quickly, you feel. Nigel de Jong now to Zabaleta down the right hand side. Cross comes in, takes a deflection. Silva's header is out of the penalty area, and now Mackie, this big strong player down the right hand side, sidesteps the challenge from Clichy, runs out of space, and immediately they return the ball now, and Mancini's going ballistic down there as he side-take the throw quickly. Clichy, left-hand side, Dzeko in the area, doesn't look a very good cross that, it's gone behind, and it's a goal kick to Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah, poor cross from Gael Clichy. Mancini furious at that. They've got to get quality into the box, and time running out. 9 minutes of normal time remaining. They need a goal soon. Something is going to have to change dramatically, or they're going to have to get one, and something they're going to have to score one as well.
9 minutes to go, plus time to be added on. The headlines so far at the moment: Manchester United are going to retain the title, leading 1-0 at Sunderland. Here, QPR are staying up. They're leading Manchester City by 2-1. Arsenal are just edging Spurs at the moment for third place. Arsenal leading 3-2 at West Brom in Roy Hodgson's last game. Clichy now for Manchester City, and QPR quite happy, it seems, with only 10 men to allow City to have the ball. They're running out of time, they're getting anxious. They still have to believe here. The City faithful who've turned up so many times, and one or two of them were pessimistic coming to the game today that they could shoot themselves on the foot once more. Nasri's ball to Dzeko. QPR appeal for offside. Dzeko now with a horrible slanted shot which may hit the corner flag over on the far side. Hasn't even done that. It's a throw to Queen's Park Rangers.
I think City.
And let's go back to John Murray at Sunderland. John?
Still Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1. Wayne Rooney's first half goal, but it is the most precarious of leads. And let me tell you, Mike, there are United nerves here as well. Martin O'Neill and Sunderland are giving it a go. Connor Wickham is being thrown on for them. So it's all in the balance. 1-0 Manchester United lead, and heading to retain their title as it stands.
But of course, as well as Sunderland may be doing, as long as it stays 2-1 here to Queen's Park Rangers, of course Sunderland are going to have to get a couple of goals there at the Stadium of Light. But Manchester City have yet another corner kick over on the far side. Silva to take it. Kenny was nowhere, but somehow QPR managed to clear it back towards the centre circle. Gathered in by Clichy. Clichy has been fouled by Sean Wright-Phillips. Free kick to City, 30 yards away. Maybe a Balotelli opportunity here.
Well, City again, they're just snatching at things at the moment, a little bit panicky. Joe Hart sat on his haunches, almost just a complete spectator. I wonder if we'll see a Mancini Stuart Pearce style, send him up front for the last 5 minutes.
Well, in some respects this may be City's best chance, this set piece, because there are so many QPR bodies in the penalty area. At least now they have an opportunity to line something up here with Balotelli and de Jong. Balotelli, who's just come on with no backlift, hits the free kick straight into the wall. Wright-Phillips feels that. Balotelli, Wright-Phillips has stayed down following that. The action continues with Dzeko slipping but still keeping the ball in the penalty area. Cross comes in, great header away by Anton Ferdinand. Wright-Phillips is back on his feet again. He's seeing stars though, as Zabaleta, the City goal scorer, finds Silva. But absolutely there's no yard there at all for Manchester City. They're going to have to work it wide down the right hand side. Cross comes in, Dzeko jumps early, and it's an easy save for Paddy Kenny, and we are 6 minutes away from going into added time here.
Well, incredible. City have got to find something different. They've got to try something else. The likes of Balotelli have got to try something special, because at the moment, City are firing balls into the box. You've got Ferdinand in there, Anua, Derry, Clint Hill, all just heading the balls away, getting little touches and clearances. City yet really to create what I would call a golden opportunity to even attempt to get themselves back into this
amazing Premier League season. People wondered whether there would be another sting in the tail, and at the moment there isn't. Jay Bothroyd has come on. I hadn't seen that, by the way, for QPR. I have no idea who's gone off, but Bothroyd's come on as a cross comes into the Rangers penalty area, and Wright-Phillips hacks it away.
Yeah, it's Bobby Zamora just picked up a little bit of an injury.
Did you see him go on?
It was 5 or 10 minutes ago. There was a bit of confusion going on. It was one of the many incidents that's happened so far this season. It's been action-packed this afternoon so far.
Well, we don't have to look away to the right at all, because all the action's to our left as another cross is floated in, and it's another poor cross from Manchester City's Nasri. It's an easy save for Kenny, underarm throw now to the Nigerian international Taiwo, the man who's on loan from AC Milan over on the far side. Reminding you on 5 Live that Sunderland 0, Manchester United 1 is the latest score at the Stadium of Light. Rooney's goal early in that game. Manchester City went in front here and it looked good for them. They needed a second, and then Rangers came out in the second half, and Lescott gifted them an equaliser through Cisse, and then Mackie astoundingly gave Queen's Park Rangers a 2-1 lead. Barton's been sent off as well. Cross comes in, great defending again from Ferdinand. He's having a storming second half, Anton Ferdinand, at the back with Clint Hill. And it's a throw to Manchester City, thrown back to their excellent captain Company. The man, of course, who celebrated that goal against Manchester United here nearly a fortnight ago. Silva now going through, but there's an extra defender there every time for Rangers, and the ball is back on the halfway line, and Joe Hart will come out. We are into the last 5 minutes of normal time. David Platt, Brian Kidd, Roberto Mancini all down there. Manchester United are 1 up still. In comes the cross. City need 2 goals from somewhere. 2 goals from somewhere, assuming Sunderland don't equalise. Now it's Zabaleta again down the right-hand side. Ball drilled into the near post, and it's Sean Derry who throws himself at it and concedes the corner.
Well, it's amazing watching the two benches. You know, the City staff, managers, coaches, full of frustration. QPR bench full of tension.
Corner kick is lifted in high by Silva, and it clears Balotelli's head. And you know, it's going to be a throw. Mancini's doing a Basil Fawlty down there. He's down on his knees.
He's willing the team. He wants them to pass it. He wants them to try things, do something different. You know, you can almost tell he wants to be out there. He's very, very passionate.
On that famous day when Manchester City last won the Premier League in 1968, I remember in sport that day Don Fox missed a last-minute kick for Wakefield Trinity in that never-to-be-forgotten Rugby League Challenge Cup final. And Wakefield lost to Leeds, and it's one of those days for Manchester City, it seems, and Bothroyd has got the best of Lescott, and Bothroyd's in the penalty area, and he almost got that through as well to Traore, and City have to do some rare defending as Derry now feeds Taiwo over on the left-hand side of the field. City fans and people in front of us can barely look because Rangers have the possession, and Gavidon is about to come on for QPR, and we have just over 2 minutes to go, and Queen's Park Rangers are leading by 2-1. They're ending their season here in style. They've had some notable victories at home recently. They've been desperately poor away from home, but when it really mattered for Mark Hughes, on his return to the Etihad, resuming his big rivalry with Roberto Mancini, it seems like Mark Hughes, the former Manchester United star, is going to have the final word here, and it seems that against all the odds, Manchester United are going to win Premier League and title number 20 in all, of course. Nigel de Jong conceding the ground. We hardly seem to notice now that Joey Barton's not been out there for QPR for a considerable time. In comes across towards Balotelli. Again, Ferdinand and Hill were there, and Rangers just thump it downfield. Joe Hart comes scrambling out of his penalty area, and Wigan 3, Wolves 2 is the latest score. Obviously we'll be going around the country as soon as these games finish for everything else.
I think what we have to remember as well, there could be 4 or 5 minutes of injury time after that Barton sending off. There was a lot of confusion, so this game could run and run. The United game could be finished, and this one's still carrying on.
Ball lifted dangerously into the Rangers penalty area. Taiwo was there, and somehow, and really Rangers should have cut that one out. Ball is cleared into the penalty area. Manchester City shouldn't really have had that opportunity. Mackie's lost possession, and it's Clichy now for Manchester City to Balotelli. They need something very special now from Balotelli. Bally's shot is driven in, and Bothroyd was there to concede a corner kick. So many light blue shirts all around us here in the stadium. They came believing today that the blue moon would be rising for them at the expense of Manchester United, but time is running out as Nasri wins a corner, and Rangers don't seem to be concerned about conceding them either.
No, it was never going to be an easy game for City. Mark Hughes coming here, old players as well. I think, you know, certainly they've dug in, but City so far, for me, haven't really done enough or created enough to win this game.
Corner kick to Manchester City. A Rangers head there again for another corner. I can just imagine the scene now at the Stadium of Light. I'm sure there are radios, earpieces listening to this commentary, willing Queen's Park Rangers to hang on here. We have 5 seconds of normal time to go. Fourth official is poised. Manchester City need to find 2 goals from somewhere here, as long as Manchester United are leading 1-0. 5 minutes of added time. Balotelli's header, and Kenny was there, and it's another corner turned away by Rangers.
Unbelievable save from Kenny, and how that's dropped wide I do not know. His mistake allowed City to get the first goal, but that was a fantastic save from point blank range from Balotelli.
Seems like they'll be finishing at Sunderland before us. They've got 3 minutes of added time as Kenny saves well this time. 3 minutes of added time at Sunderland. Mancini turns away, buries his face in his hands. What a response his team have had since the defeat at Arsenal, winning the games 15-1 of course on aggregate, but now with just over 4 minutes of added time, his team have to score 2 against 10 men of Queen's Park Rangers. Where has this performance come from Queen's Park Rangers? Very much like the Chelsea one in Europe against Barcelona. It's Silva relentlessly again to Zabaleta, who's winning a corner kick off Taiwo.
Well, QPR have just got to stand firm. Balls come into the box. You know, this is the time they've got to head heads, get anything in the way, concentrate, throw yourself at the ball.
44 years, corner kick to Manchester City. Dzeko's header, goal for Manchester City, and there's still time. Dzeko was there unopposed this time. Paddy Kenny has been beaten. We have 3.5 minutes of added time to go, and here it is 2-2.
Well, it's going to go right down to the wire. Dzeko almost unmarked for the first time in the area. Kenny absolutely nowhere in the goal. Simple free header, and now 3 minutes left.
And of course, if Sunderland score, then it's City's title if it stays 2-2 here. So it's all down also to the Stadium of Light now as well. Manchester United are leading 1-0. They're playing added time, and they've probably only got about another minute or so of added time there. Here, I make it that we've got another 3 minutes at least of added time, and Manchester City still believe, and Mancini and Brian Kidd pointing them forward. Anton Ferdinand and QPR have to line up once more as Clichy is invited on to the QPR defenders, and they all stand in front of us, and it's Samir Nasri for Manchester City, steps over the ball. Mackey's cleared it not very far. Ball back with Nasri. Is this set up for Balotelli? In comes the cross into the area. Hill is waiting for it. And QPR, of course, who need a point. Bolton are drawing 2-2. Here comes Sean Wright-Phillips now, taking the ball to the halfway line. Challenge came in from Zabaleta, and the ball's gone out of play for a Rangers throw-in. And we have just over 2 minutes of added time here. And they must just about have finished at Sunderland, where Manchester United are leading 1-0. And I just can't imagine the scenes up there in the northeast with the United fans and the management. And the QPR bench are punching the air down there. They must have heard some news, I think, from Stoke and Bolton. It's finished there 2-2. So QPR are going to be safe. Manchester United have beaten Sunderland by 1-0. The season comes down to these moments now. And in goes Aguero. Aguero has scored for Manchester City. Sergio Aguero, with seconds to go, has ended 44 years of heartbreak. What a moment for the son-in-law of Diego Maradona. There are people kissing and hugging in front of us. Manchester City lead QPR by 3-2, and right at the end, the man from Argentina looks like he's done it.
Well, absolutely incredible. There was a last-ditch tackle. The ball came in right on the very edge of the box. It broke to Aguero. Hasn't really had a chance all afternoon. Kept his cool, drove the ball in at the near post, and that has sent Manchester City absolutely delirious. The United game is already finished. I'm not sure the news has filtered into them yet, but looking at the unbelievable.
There are supporters on the pitch here. That's the biggest goal in Manchester City's history. Sergio Aguero, I remember when Diego Maradona, his father-in-law, was here. Remember, he said just a few weeks ago, I think he should go and play for Real Madrid. Well, he doesn't play for Real Madrid. He's definitely wearing the light blue of Manchester City, and they lead by 3-2, and it looks right at the end here as if they've won the title.
I tell you what, though, he did incredibly well. Taiwo came in with a really poor challenge, caught Aguero. He could have easily gone down for the penalty. He didn't. He stayed on his feet, kept the ball going, kept momentum going, drove the ball into the goal. Fantastic from Aguero.
Well, the game hasn't restarted yet.
Unbelievable.
So that great day for City in 1968, May the 11th, And you know, there was, I'll put my musical hat on for a minute, there was an album made called Live May the 11th, 1968. It was an American album made by a band called H.P. Lovecraft, and one of the tracks on that album was titled It's About Time. Well, it's about time for Manchester City. They are almost there, and all of the bench and all of the staff are waiting to run on here for Manchester City. Referee Mike Dean has looked at his watch for the first time. Most of the people here weren't even alive the last time Manchester City enjoyed this moment. 44 years ago, they all run into the centre. And Liam Gallagher is here, for example, from Oasis fame. He wasn't even born the last time in 1968. Roberto Mancini was 3. This is what it means, and they can't do anything about the hundreds and hundreds of City fans coming onto the pitch now. What a knife edge, what a game. I think we should make the point that QPR, I think, is safe, even though they've lost today. But these are amazing scenes at the Etihad Stadium, and Manchester City are champions for the 3rd time in their history.
It's absolutely bizarre. You've got City fans coming to the pitch, stewards hopelessly trying to wave people off, but you then got the QPR players running over to their fans and celebrating as well. Absolutely incredible, really bizarre.
Let's go to Mark Pugac. Mark.
Mancini had an Italian flag wrapped around him, Mike, and a hug from Yaya Toure. As you can see, the outpouring of emotion is quite extraordinary down here. I'm right on the edge of the touchline. There are half a dozen Manchester City fans who've got a huge banner which says Manchester is blue. I could see Kolo Toure hugging Mancini as well, and now Mancini's gone down the tunnel. This explosion of joy, this spontaneity of excitement, he just thought he'd get out of it just for the time being. And as you can see, a massive pitch invasion. What an extraordinary finish to the season. Manchester City champions, Mike.
Well, normally, Danny, we say we don't like to see fans on the pitch, but I think today we'll turn a blind eye to it.
Oh, definitely. And I think this is almost reminiscent of Manchester United in the Champions League. You know, in injury time, needed 2 goals, and they came up with it. Manchester United surely must have thought the title was theirs. News came through about 1 goal and then another. Absolutely phenomenal. And it is just absolutely bizarre. You've got City fans celebrating, absolutely delirious. I hope all the players have made it in off the pitch. But then you've got obviously the QPR fans and their players celebrating on the far side as well.
They will have to clear the pitch, of course, to do the presentation. The trophy is here. I remember hearing from Nedum Anua, the former City player, in the week, and he said that his dream scenario would be for Rangers to stay up but for City to become champions. That's exactly what's happened. I don't think there's ever been a climax to a Premier League season like this. We've had 20 Premier League seasons. What a season this has been, Danny, and that just finishes it off, doesn't it?
Well, it swung, to and fro. It was City's from the beginning. Then we thought they'd thrown it away. Then it was easily going to be United's, and they were miles clear and were going to run away with it. And then, of course, United threw it away, and we thought, City are now going to win it. And today has been absolutely bizarre. I think it's been fantastic, so exciting on the last day of the season. Absolutely incredible.
Well, I don't know if Sheikh Mansour is here, but with great respect to you, sir, shake, rattle and roll. I mean, this is what he invested in.
Oh, exactly. And this now will give City the springboard. But just look at Mancini do his interview on the screen, and you can tell the emotion just drained out of him. He thought it had gone. With 3 or 4 minutes to go, he thought it was over, buried. And again, he must have been thinking, I can't believe this. Suddenly they got a goal from Dzeko's free header, and then I have to reiterate, Aguero did unbelievably well to stay on his feet under challenge from Twio to score that goal. Well, absolutely fantastic.
When they won the title in '68, it was an all-English team. Today, of course, the goals coming from Argentina primarily, and also from Dzeko. Back to Mark Pugac.
Well, Mike, we've taken refuge in the tunnel. We made it as far as Roberto Mancini's dugout and then down the tunnel. And everyone is Clint Hill of QPR, of course, Mark Bowen punching the air because they're safe, of course. Let me see if I can have a quick word with Mark. Mark, hello. Hello, live on 5 Live. Well, you're safe and your old club has won the title. Everybody's happy, Mark.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we've got an association with the City fans and half the team, so, we give it our all at QPR, and we're delighted we've stayed up. Thank God the result went for us, but, what an afternoon of football, unbelievable.
I mean, as far as last days go, Mark, I can't remember anything like it. And your team, the way they fought back after going down to 10 men to then go in front, incredible
character we showed today. And well, just in fairness, it's not often I'm lost for words, but I'm speechless, mate. Unbelievable.
And you know, having been here, what it means to these Manchester City fans, you can understand their reaction, their delight at the most incredible denouement.
Absolutely, and I said, like Mark Hughes, I mean, we felt that this team we built there, we put the foundations in, and good luck to them all. Good luck to them.
Smashing, Mark. Thank you very much indeed. Mark Byrne, assistant manager of Queen's Park Rangers, of course, formerly the assistant manager of Manchester City. Nigel de Jong came screaming down the tunnel, uttering words I would not want to repeat on our radio programme, but you can understand the outpouring of emotion.